working on the software. All right, Jay. I'll leave you alone.
I appreciate it, Nix. How we looking on YouTube? You live?
It still says waiting.
All right. What about Facebook group?
We
I'm
on.
live.
All right.
I'm live on
Person.
your page.
All right, cool.
All right, we
Waiting on
good,
yours.
Jay.
We good? All
Yeah, we on.
right. We live, baby.
Yeah, we good. What's the topics?
Easy,
I just
easy,
show up
young
so I ain't gotta
boy.
hear your mouth and stuff, man.
Right, easy, young boy. Come on, slow down now.
You know what it is. Some
I was being for
men-centered
real.
ask questions. We'll see what they
I
are.
can't talk like this while we recording. I understand. It's okay. I just want to.
If you don't want record around for years and years to come, then yeah, don't talk like
I
that.
just like being my authentic self. That's
Oh,
all.
good, good. Me too.
Yeah, sure. Anton too.
Well, no, I can't be my authentic self. Y'all be like, no,
Hey,
calm
so
down. This girl,
you
she
hoodied out
doing
that
too
day?
much. I gotta, you know,
Here you
I,
go.
I gotta tone it down just a little bit, just a little bit.
Here you go. Yeah, I'm about to say, well, no, it's all good. I'm about to say, yeah, man, I get it, Tawana. I get it.
You get it.
Hey, Anton, I see you hoodied up tonight, man.
Always.
Yeah, y'all
You
ain't
know
been
you
on
ain't
y'all
always
yet.
hooded up. You be having on the little pink polo.
The last 3-4 times we done did this, I was really done.
Okay, y'all still got the heat set on 65 or some shit?
That sound like don't turn that damn heat off.
Hey, you know, black folks got a thing about what time of the year they gonna turn it up to above 70. You know, so that's all good. What is that, like 68 now instead of 65? It's all good.
Listen, I just got back in town. So it's cold for me.
I forgot you be jet setting, bro. You know, hey man.
I just got back.
He bi-coastal.
Yeah, man. Hey,
Where you really live? Do you really live in Detroit? I don't believe that. I feel like
I
you
live on a plane.
wherever that takes you, huh?
Hey, low key, he's serious though.
I know. I'm kind of not playing with him either. I'm low key. I'm trying to figure it out. Where you live at?
On the plane, baby.
On that plane.
Well, I'm at the crib all the time. If you want to know.
That background don't never change. We know where you be.
No, not at all.
Right here. That's why mine be too.
Hey, I don't ever want to go back either, man. Like I could work remotely till retirement.
You a homebody, B-Nick, so you like to be at home?
Oh, I stay at home.
You do?
Yeah, man.
So this is like ideal for you, like being.
Oh yeah, I got everything I need. I done bought every app. I got Hulu, Disney Plus, Netflix, all them other ones, the names I can't pronounce on the new apps, all that, man.
Yeah.
I'm good.
That's good.
All right, y'all, it's go time.
Let's go.
Welcome to Lapeef Let's Talk. I'm here with the crew, as usual. We got Anton.
What up, though?
Tawana.
Hey, y'all.
And B Nix.
Out here.
Of course, myself, J.I. Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. Our first topic, Ice Cube, contract with black people. There's been a lot of talk surrounding Ice Cube's decision to have a conversation with Trump about his platinum plan. My first thought when I heard a platinum plan, right? A lot of plans never get done. What is Ice Cube going to possibly tell Trump that Trump will actually do? A lot of celebrities secretly support Trump to protect their money. So does that mean that Ice Cube supports Trump? What is the contract with black people? B Nix, when you first heard just this statement alone, what were your immediate thoughts?
Hey, can I be honest and say I didn't really care? You know, like, I feel like we're elevating the fact that this is Ice Cube we're talking about because it's Cube. He gets this extra attention in my life that I gotta care about his platinum plan. It's kind of like, hey, who did he vet this with? You know, it's like, I'm not saying he didn't know what he was talking about. I don't necessarily say I feel for him, but I dislike the way it was presented. I think the way it was presented and almost like the way it's been socialized in the media is the same way that you presented it, JR, that this was like a partnership that he and Trump had together. Then you have to read a little bit more of the story that this is something that he had been working on actually for a few months, he presented it to both parties. Okay, cool. One said to say like, hey, cool, we'll holler at you after the election. We got real business to work on. Okay, Trump, like, yeah, take a seat. We'll look at it. We'll take part of your plan and incorporate it into our stuff. So the thing is, then it's like, well, who has ownership over the actionable outcomes of it? Is it him, or is it the Trump administration or the Republicans? So the thing is, I respect his approach. Well, not even his approach. I respect the idea, the concept of wanting to do more, to give back, to do better. But I think that we get caught up into these concepts because of these personalities, of these celebrities, of people that have this media influence, that because Ice Cube said he has a platinum plan for us, then I need to stand behind it. We treat black folks as all being monolithic, that all of a sudden that we have one mind, one voice. We are all individuals, we're all human beings. And the thing is, I think in a certain regard, it negates the work of the people who have been in the trenches, who have already been developing their plans. So like, to me, how's that Cube's plan get elevated directly to the president? I don't care how much I dislike Trump. Nobody don't have a go route directly to the president. So I admire the fact that he does have that lane in that space, but I feel like it should be a collaborative effort, and maybe he did, and maybe I just don't know enough. I think there are benefits of it and what he's talking about as far as like reinvestment in the black community, but I think it was an aspect of his plan that talked about black accountability or whatever like that. That was the part where it's like, well, I want to say, who are you to tell me what I need to be accountable for as a black man? And I'm not saying I'm against it, but it's just like, who gives you the right? And maybe I'm just being difficult. Maybe I'm just being a typical black person. Or maybe politicians are being the typical politicians. They just used it for a nice story. They got us talking about it.
Right.
If somebody's woke, they would say it's a distraction. So the thing is, I got real stuff going on in my life. I don't got time to really entertain it. If it plays out, cool. But my thing is that, like, only thing I can care about is my environment, my circle, my culture. What Cube was talking about, I support him, but really, I didn't really care.
Didn't care. Anton, you first heard Ice Cube was talking to Trump. What was your first thoughts?
My understanding of it was that, because it would be different, I think. Even the narrative should be different in people's minds if, I guess, Trump had reached out to Ice Cube. But he reached out to the party in its entirety. He didn't just reach out to... I think the thing that's getting lost in the sauce is he didn't just reach out to one party. He put together whatever it is that he wanted to put together, and he reached out to both parties. So if that's not being objective, I don't know what is. I'll tackle the idea behind people's uproar against Ice Cube itself. But in general, from the outset, my understanding of it was that he reached out to both parties. One party spun him like, yeah, we'll holler at you later. And then the other party was like, yeah, let's sit down and put something together. And I'm inclined to believe that they are, or they will, abide by their word based off of a lot of the things that they've done, working with black leaders in the black community. They've overfunded and done more funding for HBCUs than any president within my lifetime. They've also created opportunity zones where places like Atlanta and places like, black communities, urban communities have traditionally not been funded in the past, but they've received billions of dollars throughout his tenure. In addition to that, he created and advocated for, not just during the election time, but prior to, has worked on and passed criminal justice reform that has freed significant amount of black people. So why wouldn't I be inclined to believe that he's going to participate in having this conversation and continuing to push an agenda when the track record says he has? A lot of people get upset by the person, but I'm not looking to be your friend. I don't care about your personality. I care about your policy. What has your policies and your track records done? And if your track record says this, why would I look at it any differently? So the whole thing that it comes down to is, if you don't like somebody, it doesn't matter what the track record is, both of the administration themselves or the person that's advocating for it, such as Ice Cube, right? It don't matter what they do. People are prisoners of the moment. They're emotional, and they're overwhelming majority of the time, according to what I see on social media, they're unable to detach themselves from how they feel about a specific person in order to figure out whether or not somebody is actually going to help you or benefit you. If I don't like this guy, for example, and I'm not even talking about Trump specifically, but just in general, if I don't like somebody, but I'm in a difficult situation, and somebody says, you know what, I can help you become a better person, or I can help you become, get in a better position of power or improve your situation, why would I slap that hand? You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, well, maybe I should at the very least have the conversation. Don't mean I have to go through with it. Don't mean that it has to translate into anything specific, or maybe we both walk away. But when you object to having the conversation, or you neglect from having the conversation, you get absolutely nothing done. And I think people, especially Black people, are so quick to judge and so quick to say what it is versus having a conversation based off of what it could be. So that was my initial thoughts and my initial impression of the whole situation.
Gotcha. Tawana, when you first heard that Ice Cube wanted to speak with Trump and they had conversations, what were your first thoughts?
I mean, I don't think that's what happened. I think it's exactly what Anton said, that he presented this idea, the contract with Black, to both parties. And subsequently, the Democratic Party told him to let's wait until after election to tackle this. Like, we like the plan, but we just need, we need some time to tackle this. And the Trump administration reached out immediately. And I think that his entire purpose was to get this information out. He wasn't really particularly concerned with what party, supporting him or not. He's more concerned with who's going to actually listen and really implement change. And he has yet to discover who that is going to actually be, but he just appreciated having that opportunity to talk to the people who could make change, who have the power to make change. And I think that was important, and that was lost. I think people felt like he aligned himself with Trump, and I disagree completely that that's not what happened. And I think that it's easy to say, you're a sellout, just because everyone knows that Trump has made some problematic statements, and he has pretty much, made it very clear who his allegiance is with. And I think that, worries a lot of, minorities, because we feel like there's a threat to us, our security, our national security. So we have every right to question why, he would want to align himself with that person. But I don't think that was the premise and that was the purpose. And I actually read the contract with Black, and I thought that he addressed some really pertinent issues in our community. And the premise is really just to address racial inequality in our society. And he felt like, we needed some contract. I think that all of these different issues have been said and the disparities have been noted, but it's not one person who brings that contract like in one area, right? And it's just a total focus on it. And I think that was what Ice Cube tried to do. And I do believe that, he addressed like the wealth gap, bank lending inequalities, prison reform. He just talked about so many great things. And I think he really doesn't care what, who he uses to get this information out. He just feels like it's important. And I think that the accountability thing didn't bother me so much, because I felt like the Black responsibility was key to the entire thing. I think he said, hey, if we remove all these barriers, right, and we basically put Black people on an equal playing field in America, when we do all of these reforms and we put all these initiatives in place, we will not have a reason why we're not successful. We will not have a reason why crime rates won't decrease in our area, why there won't be influx of alcoholism, domestic violence, abuse. He was basically just saying that once we implement all of these reforms, I mean, he asked for interest-free housing, interest-free loans for housing. So you would buy a house and you would buy the house for whatever price it was. And he asked for some great things that would basically help elevate and make us equal to other races. And he just talked about the disparities in wealth gap. And I think that many people, what they do is they don't really understand the purpose of, and I think it's great that Ice Cube is using his name as a platform to advocate for these issues, because it's obviously something that we need, and things that is important to Black America. And I don't know for sure if the BLM movement is being successful in pushing this agenda, and I don't know if their purpose is very clear, because a lot of people have found that they've aligned themselves with a different value system than a lot of Black people align with. So I don't have too many issues with it. I do think that his perception is the problem, the perception of who he tried to align himself with, and people automatically was emotionally charged by his alignment with Trump, instead of really listening to the facts and what his purpose was.
Kind of like they was ready to cancel him out, huh?
Yeah, they. You know what? They'll cancel culture on you in a minute. They probably gonna cancel me out.
Hey, don't get Anton
they gonna
started.
cancel me out if I agree with Trump. So
right.
Don't get Anton
you know
started
what?
with cancel
I think
culture.
it's good for people like Ice Cube to be at the forefront of having these conversations, because now you're talking about people that don't care about whether or not people don't cancel him out. Like, he don't care about what social media is thinking and stuff like that. And I guess the interesting part about it is similar to the comment that was just displayed on the screen. People are not even having the conversation about what Tawana just described, right? They're only talking about Trump and whether or not. Listen, fam, what Ice Cube said was, he didn't say he reached out to Biden. He didn't say he reached out to Trump. He said he reached out to the parties.
He did.
Which means there are more people that encompasses a specific party. You're talking about the Congress and the House of Representatives and the Senate and all of the different people on a local level that plays a role in, how your life will be affected on a day-to-day basis. So, people just automatically sum things up based off of their dislike for one specific purpose, which puts you in a disadvantaged position because you're not objective in understanding. And I would guarantee, I'd be willing to bet that the overwhelming majority of the people that's having these conversations never even read what the proposal was.
Yeah, no, I agree. You're right. But, I think that I support everything you said, Anton. What I think it does be, and what Tawana was saying, we're getting perception as reality, right? Where we're more concerned about the approach on how the story was released versus the content. Because I've even seen where people will say, like, well, where was Ice Cube 4 years ago or whatever? And the thing is, like, Ice Cube has built his name off really representing not just the streets, but neighborhoods, Black folks. And the thing is like, wow, like, little do we, soon do we forget. But the thing is, I think it's this. That's why I say I'm in support of the concept. I mean, I think if anything, we see more people that are inclined, that are in positions of power, to leverage their privilege. Even though Ice Cube is not white, but we always associate privilege with white folks. The thing is, he has a level of privilege, celebrity privilege, that we do not have. So it's like, at the same time, I gotta commend him that he does have the level of access to be able to navigate to these level of parties that I don't have. But I think for people that, like Anton is talking about, and Tawana, where it's like, hey, folks are big mad right now about, he talked to Trump. Regardless of the case, I think that we also need to say, like, hell, as far as the level of privilege that Ice Cube possessed, he still is willing to find a way to contribute to the cause. So I think, if anything, this made me realize that, what? We need to continue our fight locally. Anton,
can people not
in the communities, aldermen, whatever, block clubs, whatever, we need to continue to do that.
Hey Dex, I want to ask you about the timing. Do you think the timing was off?
Well, I want to say yes. My first answer is yes, but he didn't release this story though. Like he didn't really necessarily release this as a, like Anton mentioned, he's not a social media person. So the thing is, this actually came from well, whatever, not press secretary, but somebody from Trump's campaign, you know, through Twitter. So the thing is, he didn't release this on his own, and he actually had conversations and videos leading up to this. But I feel that, like, hey, much as Ice Cube not a social media person, I was surprised that he had to provide a response to this, you know. So it shows that even somebody with the stature of Ice Cube, the power of social media, we're all human. It gets to us,
Right.
and he felt the need to respond. But I think that was more so media driven. That what he didn't release that story. They did. So that's why I feel, going back to just the Trump aspect of this story, it does seem a little misleading, because it's like, now I'm trying to do this kind of comparison of, this is what I'm doing for black folks as far as the Republican Party, and that's what the Democrats aren't doing. So the thing is, I appreciate the clarity of saying, like, no, Q's, like Anton mentioned, like, Q, hey, I reached out to both of them.
Right. You know what? I was doing my research on this topic, and I saw that he had been doing a lot of interviews lately. And so I hear you guys say that you don't know if, well, he responded to the people. I think the people was getting to him. And I felt like he had to go on all these networks in order to defend himself.
Ice Cube?
Yeah, Ice Cube. Yeah, talking about Ice Cube. I feel like he did, because I missed a lot of interviews. He did a lot. And I don't know if it was to bring attention to the contract with black people, or if it was he really got in his feelings just reading everything on the media. But I can understand the confusion from everyone. If we're not having conversations, then people say that we need to talk. We need to speak up and do something about it. If we have the conversations, then you got people questioning why. B. Nix, do you feel as though Trump is using Cube to secure black votes?
Yeah, but isn't Biden doing the same thing? They all do it. Like, so to me, am I surprised? No. Have we seen this before? Yes. So why be up in arms about it when we already know the rules of the game and know how to play? This is the game within the game, especially right now. Because we've seen, I guess based on COVID, it has adjusted things, but we've seen muddier campaigns, messier campaigns. This campaign really has not been as messy as far as mudslinging across, between both candidates. But hey, whatever competitive advantage that each candidate can do, they're going to leverage it. So I feel it was convenient. It was convenient on Trump's part, and honestly, it's typical.
Yeah. Tawana, do you feel like Trump is using Ice Cube to secure black votes?
No. I believe he's using Ice Cube to secure liberal, middle-class white votes. I think that's who he wants to target. Let me tell you who he's going to appeal to, because every black person that I know saw straight through the bull. Like, no black person is falling for that. We don't believe that Trump is on our side. We don't believe that. No, we understand that Ice Cube has a cause that he wants to push the awareness and he wants to get it out. But we understand that Trump is not aligned with African Americans, or most liberals understand that. So what we know to be true, and what I know to be true, is that he is losing the middle class, liberal white vote. He's losing it significantly. And what he's trying to do is make an effort to look human, to look like he has some sense of empathy for our community. And therefore, it may change, it may sway some people's thoughts about him as a president. So yeah, historically, when you're in office, most presidents serve both terms. So most times the president who's currently in office wins. And so he's trying to win, right? He's trying to make sure that he wins, and he's setting it up for that. So absolutely not. I don't think he's using Ice Cube for that. I don't think he cares enough about African American people to do something like that. I think it is specifically to target liberals, and that middle class population that he's losing. Yeah.
I think you make a good point. The swing vote, right? So the thing is like, or the independent vote.
Right.
I mean, I think we talked about this in the previous show. I mean, I can't document it, but I know that typically, if you Democrat, most of the time that's about 40% right there. You vote Republican, it's the same 40%.
Right.
It really is that gap. Is that 10% really? Mm-hmm. I mean, that 20% that could go either way.
Yeah.
Anton, do you feel as though Trump was using Ice Cube to secure black votes?
No, I don't think that he's using Ice Cube to secure black votes because the overwhelming majority of people that are impartial and are unable to look at things objectively they already hate him anyway. Like it don't matter if you gave every single black person reparations and everything. They're going to say they hate him no matter what because it's not about the actual action, it's about the presence of people. And people are unable to look at things objectively. They're unable to look at things and say, you know what, how do I make a decision based off of what policy affects me best?
I don't know. I think unless we got that stimulus check, he may have swung some votes.
but I mean, every single president has given some form of stimulus, something in our lifetime, in our voting lifetime. So that's no different. Again, it's all about presentation. If I say, "Oh man, I absolutely love you," and then I stab you in the back, you'll love me more and vote for me more than if I say, "Man, I don't really care for you, fam, but you know what? We got the same objective and things that we trying to accomplish. You can scratch my back, I can scratch your back, and we can figure out how to make this work." People don't look at life like that. They don't look at being able to see how I can benefit from this thing. They'll rather align themselves with the person that they're used to hurting you. It's like being in a bad relationship. I feel like, liberals and black people have been in this very horrible, toxic relationship with their Democratic Party for so long that they've just learned to embrace them. It's almost like a woman being in a toxic relationship with an abusive man. You don't understand why she's still in there with him, but he just gonna keep on whooping that tail when she not gonna feel like he don't love her unless he put his hands on her. So, she see that there's other things out there, but for some reason she's unable to detach herself and look at things objectively versus aligning themselves. See, I don't even understand why people even say I'm a liberal or I'm a such and such. It's almost like, how can you just say you align with a specific party with a whole bunch of people that got a whole lot of different objectives that affect how you live on a bunch of different places? You didn't even say that you align with people based off of character or policy or anything. It's automatically, I'm this thing. And then that automatically puts them in a position to align themselves or be more open to the possibility of the people of that specific party that they align themselves. So I don't feel like he used him. I feel like that he's taking advantage of what he's putting out. I'm giving you something, you give me something in return. We do the same thing. Every single day we do it.
I almost feel like, I don't know if he's using them, but I know Trump's seen opportunity. So, whether we, like it or not, I just felt like it couldn't hurt him to actually hear him out. I don't think that he's going to actually do anything. Like I say, anytime a president says a plan, we go back and look, a lot of stuff didn't get done.
Never.
They can't do everything. So I just think that Trump saw the opportunity and he capitalized on it. And if he did win some votes over, that's a win for him. That's how he's looking at it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Just recently, D.L. Hughley had something to say about Ice Cube and Trump. I'll play the little footage right now.
Rappers, and if we were talking about making a great album or some of the other projects he's done, that's all in. But to sit down with that man who only uses black people for caricatures, only for backdrops, only for photo ops, it is insulting. Yes, we need to be in the room, but it needs to be the right people in the room. People who have expertise on any number of problems that plague us. Any number of problems. And while you were meeting with, while Ice Cube was meeting me, did he talk to him about how he's trying to suppress the vote? Did he talk to him about the fake ballot boxes they have all over the country? Did he talk to him about the poll watchers they're going to have that could potentially have violent outcomes with black people? Did he talk to them about how long our lines we have to wait in to vote? Did he do that?
Tawana, after hearing that, do you feel like D.L. Hughley had a point?
Yes, absolutely. I'm a huge fan of D.L. Hughley. Like, I agree with him. He's like, excuse me, I'm rooting for everybody that's black, and I'm on his side with that. So I'm like, he's absolutely right in the fact that, I have more of a sense of, awareness that I feel like I wouldn't align myself with someone like Trump because I know why he does what he do. Like, I understand who he's trying to appeal to, and I know that his entire premise has absolutely no agenda for what I am looking to accomplish. So I think that his whole entire point was that he's just trying to spread awareness. And I understand that completely. And we cannot change who's in power. He was elected, he won fair and square. So he is our president, right? So I feel like some people feel like they need to cancel culture because he aligns himself with this person. And I don't feel that way. I feel like I understood why Ice Cube did what he did. Would that be my principles and would that be something that I would do? No. Like, I would never meet with Trump. He has nothing to say to me about anything that I need to accomplish in my life. So I love him. I love that G.O. Hughley is like an advocate for African American people. Like, he understands the bigger picture, and he's such a he's so good at pointing out the obvious, that Trump is using Ice Cube's status to elevate himself and to appeal to a certain population. Do I think it's black people? No, I don't think so. I think it's the middle class. I think it's white folks, but I do understand exactly what his point was. So yeah, I agree with him. You know, I'm for D.L. Hughley in all aspects.
Tawan, I don't know if I 100% agree with you or D.L. Hughley. And the reason why I say that is because I felt like when that came out, he didn't even hear the facts behind it, which a lot of us do. They see stuff, they hear stuff, and then they just real quick to judge.
Why do you think he didn't hear the facts?
Because if he would have understood that Ice Cube reached out to the Democrats, you know, they wanted to push it off into, you know, after the election.
I think,
and he also reached out, to the Republicans, and they said, "Hey, you know, we'll hear you." Now they may have had a motive, true enough, but I feel like at least he's doing something. And I feel like a lot of people are always talking about what people are not doing when they're not doing anything themselves.
But you can't just, you know, just because somebody show you attention don't mean you need to show them attention back. Like, you need to be selective about who you align yourself with, and that is the other.
But the very people that we align ourselves, the very people that you align yourself with, won't even have a conversation with you. So how is that? How does that make sense? They ain't even letting you.
No, they were honest with him about what they needed to do. They told him the priority, which is the election. It is the priority right now.
No,
they did. They told him the priority.
You're telling me. Wait. You telling me they can't even hear him out until after the election?
They told him the truth.
No, I mean,
that's crazy.
I work in government. I understand what's priority and what's not, and we have to delegate tasks.
Biden is funny because in the debate that we talked about, the thing that he emphasized, the moderator and Trump asked him, has he ever made a phone call to any of these mayors in any of these cities and had a conversation with them about how they can more effectively, you know, have these protests, or, you know, what suggestion that he would give them as a policymaker. And you know what he said? He was like, well, I'm not in government right now, so I don't really have a voice. Which basically tells me that you have more time than the actual administration that did take time out to have the conversation with you. We're talking about an administration that's dealing with, you know, worldwide issues and trade platforms and a COVID crisis and negotiating stimulus plans with, you know, the Senate, Nancy Pelosi, and all of these people. And they have time to, at the very least, hear you out and sit down and hear what you have to say. But we're going to align ourselves and not give that same level of criticism. At the very least, at least be objective to give the same level of criticism to the very person who has less on their plate than anybody in government, won't even hear you. And you telling me that makes sense because they told you the truth, that they wouldn't even sit down and had a conversation with you? Not even an aide, not anybody from the administration's party, nobody, no handler, nobody was willing to sit down and have the conversation with you, and you telling me that makes sense?
That's the thing. The thing with us is we always want immediate gratification, and we don't really take the time to say, you know what, that makes complete sense. And maybe, just like we're giving Trump grace and saying maybe he didn't have ulterior motives, maybe they really are saying to him, hey, you know, we are doing this right now, but this is important to us as well, and we may bring you on and have an initiative.
That's not what he said.
Well,
That's
Yes,
not what he
that
said.
was
They said what
Ice
he
Cube
said. They
said.
said was
Ice
hold
Cube
on,
made it clear that they told him that that was the priority at this moment,
the whole
but that they
premise-
still
the
wanted
whole
to talk to
premise
him.
for what- the whole premise for what Ice Cube said in the very beginning, in the first video that he explained, he said, hey, we need to start having these conversations as to what we want for our vote. You can't have the conversation after I vote for you. I have an objective. I have things that I want to have a conversation about. Are you willing to come to the table with me? And then we can have a conversation about how we can get the black vote as a result of something that you're willing to participate in. You can't say, okay, we'll talk to you after you vote for us. That's the complete opposite of his
He didn't
whole
say.
objective.
They didn't say that.
This is what Ice Cube said. He said
He
that
didn't say they said after you vote for
he
us.
asked them to have the conversation. They said, we'll address it and talk to you after the election. You are
After
simply
the
asking me
election.
for my vote, but you don't even want to sit down and talk to me. I don't know how that makes sense in anybody's mind. I don't care what side of the aisle you on.
I don't know. I mean, can I give two responses?
Go ahead.
One was more so just kind of on the tail end of what we were talking about with the approach of being able to sit with him, right? The thing is, I kind of, this goes back, you mentioned this earlier, JR, about the timing of this.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's I have to look at, politics as governmental affairs. This is industry, right? So the thing is, in this industry, folks have strategic plans on how they go about their daily operations, both micro and macro. The thing is, if this was something that was, pertinent, that had to be discussed, you could have talked to me months back about this. Can't show up, and I don't care whether it's Trump, whether it's John Doe, or whomever, even myself. You can't show up on my doorstep the month before one of the biggest elections in modern history to pitch a plan.
But I can, because you're asking for my vote. It's not like
this is
not
just
because he Ice Cube and he made Friday.
This is not something like getting something for nothing.
This shows the contrast, because I think that Trump is willing to hear it, because I don't know if Trump has a strategic plan. Or
they never refused to talk to him. Never.
So it's I'm gonna leverage whatever I can do. I'm scrambling. So I'm trying to.
I'm amazed
out right now.
I'm amazed at the lack of criticism and scrutiny that we don't have for all parties.
No, I would feel the same way. No, honestly, I would feel the same way. It was the other way around, and
But no. Nobody is having a conversation and saying anything about the fact that, and I'm not talking about Biden specifically, but they're not having. Dog, you know how huge the Democratic.
But see, that's the thing.
Is?
So we're. This is where the tunnel vision comes in. That we're assuming that other people not named Ice Cube has already been having conversations about the black agenda,
but that's
about
exactly
black economics and things like that. So
if you do the research, B-Nix, you'll find out that what is it, Dr. Earl Boyce Watkins or something like that? They had a whole consortium of people that they've been working with for months on this whole, because he said y'all crazy if y'all think that Ice Cube just put this together on his own. We've been working with him. We've been having these conversations with all parties, and they are refusing to come to the table with us. So for us to sit here and act like, oh, they just sprung this on us now. No, this has been in the works for a long time. And that's exactly what my narrative is that are we not objective enough to hold everybody's? I understand if you want to hold.
So it's been an objective for a long time, but then Trump decided a month before election.
You only able to have a conversation one way.
No.
That is a real strategy. That's a strategy.
That's the thing. It's so going back to just the framing in which I'm talking about. Being you can't show, and the thing is, I mentioned earlier, Anton, that the way the story was released, I hated it. But the thing is, Cube even alluded to this isn't something like, hey, one weekend he was just sitting around him and his guys and like, hey, I got this plan about black economics. So the thing is, I'm not saying that, but based on as a current state of affairs right now, I'm not trying to be distracted because I'm trying to win an election. If Trump went, and Trump didn't like the fact it was Trump's people. You know what I mean? So
but that's not what we're talking about.
Democrats, we have more to lose.
We're not talking about who you're going to vote for. We're talking about holding everybody's feet to the fire.
I'm not saying that
That's
either.
what we're talking about.
I'm not saying that either. And the thing is, like, going back to the earlier point that we mentioned with DL Hughley, the thing is, like, I respect where DL was coming from, but to me, that's a different agenda. Cube's agenda was focusing on black economics. What DL Hughley was talking about, it talks about the law enforcement, the mistreatment of black folks, and not to say that both don't support each other, but technically those are two different agendas. So I respect
but I think what I think he was saying was, why even align yourself with a person who thinks this way? Like, why do you think that his agenda would ever align with whatever you're trying to do for African Americans?
Well, I already broke down
I think that's what
I already
he
gave reasons why in the very.
But it's just a conversation.
Like, the thing is,
it's just a conversation.
It's not against
the
it.
conversation.
Folks have different perspectives. Again, just because we black, that don't mean that we have to agree on the same agenda every time.
That's true.
Always
let me help you to understand.
It's not always a one voice, one sound type.
Democrats are already having the conversation about inequality, racial inequality. It's the conservative. Yes, we are. It's the conservatives that have challenges with addressing those issues, and that is why Trump jumped to the whole entire.
You know what's wrong with us as a people?
That's why.
Wrong with us as a people?
Hey, define us.
We think that
who you talking to next? You said define us.
It's one-sided, and everybody is just going.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what he meant by that too.
The interesting thing about it is that anybody that understands business, anything that understands moving in a positive direction or getting things done or anything, understands that you can't just do it with one party. Even if the Republicans, and they were true to their heart and they really wanted to do this thing and they pushed it through, guess what? They couldn't do it without a bipartisan agreement. And that's why we have these different levels of government, because even if Trump wanted to do something, he has to get it approved through our Senate and our House of Representatives,
it will be,
and all these things. But my point is that the whole point that they wouldn't even come to your table, they wouldn't even have a conversation with you, and y'all think that that's okay? Y'all think that it's okay that they wouldn't even entertain a conversation with you on any level? Not just
he didn't say that. They didn't say that.
Level, on any level, and y'all not.
Bruh, like,
they didn't say that.
It's silly to me.
They didn't say that.
I'm done with this. I see how biased everything is, and the hate is so real that it's hurting ourselves. We don't even realize that we the ones being hurt from not being objective, being open to the possibility of having these conversations.
Right, because I'm like, dude, you talking the same stuff that you saying, like, accept other people's perspectives, but you can't accept nobody else's damn perspective.
Yeah,
Look at you getting all emotional about somebody else's perspective. I can't even talk no more.
That's just completely
good night.
Like, if a person is unable to even be open to a conversation, it's no conversation to be had.
Like,
so there's nothing else for me to say.
Just to be clear,
open don't mean I agree.
Again,
open.
You can't be strategic showing up at somebody's doorstep the month before the biggest election and saying, "Hey, I need to holler at you, bro." I get that. This ain't no mom and pop operation, and I'm not saying that for the Democrats. I feel the same way as Republicans. The thing is, like, we'll see what we can do. So, all right, so we still technically don't know what the Republicans are really going to incorporate. So, not to say it's a send-off, but
like, they still want your vote, though. They still want your vote. They still
But the thing is, Ice Cube's
Ice
Cube's focus wasn't about necessarily securing the vote. It was about black economics. So again, it goes back to the agenda. The thing is, being strategic in the industry, last minute planning never works. We crash and burn that way. Okay. So the thing is, even if Trump listened to him, you're not going to hear Trump talk about that during the debate tonight to say, like, hey, after talking to Ice Cube, this is actually my 36-point plan that we're going to incorporate, and 15 of the 36 comes from Ice Cube's black economics plan. That's not going to be the case.
Do Joe Biden even have any power in this at this point? I mean, I feel like he's made a good point. Like, let's wait until
he
after
didn't say
I'm
he
elected.
Talked to Joe Biden. He said he talked to
Camilla,
Democratic Party.
all of them. He needs to wait.
Party. Why do y'all keep just encapsulating this with one person? He talked to the party. The party is
kind of sound. Yeah, what it sounds like is we gonna agree to disagree on this one.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Go ahead, host. The hostess with the mostest.
You know, women were upset, stating that Ice Cube did not mention anything about women in his contract with black people. I'm going to play a clip from the Cocktails with Queens.
hear what you're saying, but I just want you to know, as Black women, how we would feel with there's no mention specifically of Black women in the contract with Black America. They do have
to stand on top of that. I just told you can write that up if you want
it's
to.
We're not out here jumping on calls.
We all Black, so we all.
We're not meeting up with Jared Kushner and Donald Trump about this. You are. So you can't say, well, if you don't like it, add to it. You're out here. You took that job. You took that position to lead this. So like, don't say
I'll write up the Black woman's part of the contract for you.
Good.
How many words do y'all want it to be? The thing is, you guys are the experts, but here we go again. You just want to talk. Nobody want to help me. Just want to talk. But y'all the experts on Black women, so why won't y'all help me? See, that's the problem.
I can tell you why. You just let me know. Party. So anyway, the initiatives have already been set.
Hey, next, after seeing that about the women being upset,
I didn't even know that show exists. I'm like, man, what the hell is this show? Who were those?
I've seen it a few times.
I've seen it. Who started the purple hair? Like,
I mean,
who are they? Like, why are they relevant? But nonetheless, they must be if they got a show. But again, here we go. I almost want to feel this a distraction. Like, we all up in arms. Like, now I don't know. I gotta admit, this is probably the most I've seen Ice Cube do this type of like conversation with me. Like, he needs to go and write a script for another movie or something. I feel like, hey, you're in a different space now, Q, and the world is different. Like, hey, boy, you can't dismiss people like that. You put yourself out there. You got to hear folks out. That's part of being in this space. You got to be able to provide the space for people to talk. The thing is, hey, I don't know. There's no right or wrong. Like, should it be a woman's part of it? I don't see why not, but I respect what he was saying. He said it's for Black folks. I don't think he said men this or men that, or at least maybe I missed it.
So you think they was overreacting?
Bias, you know?
So you think they was overreacting? The women?
I don't know. Low key, I said from the jump, I didn't care about the plan anyway. Like, see, that's why I didn't want to give this too much energy, because now it becomes one of those, like, you know, it's a catch-22, you know. But the thing is, if you go into that space, because think about it, going back.
It's okay to be honest on the show, Nick. It's okay.
No, this is going back to.
Were they overreacting? You know, did they take the attention away from the contract with Black people and try to pull themselves into it?
All right, I don't care. But the thing is, was they overreacting?
Huh? Oh, go back. You said what?
About me not caring?
Yeah.
I said that at the beginning of the show. I didn't care about the plan. It's not like I'm not taking away from the value of it, but it's just like, I don't know. I don't care about Ice Cube's plan. It's like it's so many other people that are also doing the same type of work that, again, I have more of an issue that we're elevating Ice Cube's plan over pre-existing plans of people who actually does.
I like the way you dodged that question, Nick. You dodged it pretty well.
Overreact? So, were they overreacting, Nick? Yes or no? Yes. No, they wasn't. It was just folks talking. That's how folks talk. That's how Black folks talk. All right. Hell,
I need to learn how to dodge bullets like Nick, man.
Hey, Anton, when you saw that video,
I gotta learn how to dodge bullets like you do, Nick, man. You
ain't no dodging bullets. I don't care. No, it's just folks talking. Do I think me, Anton, and Tawana overreact? No.
Kind of sound like Nick don't want to be canceled. That's what it sounds like.
Hey, man, he just need. Hey, if you enter a certain space,
Anton.
No, hold on. Before you go to Anton, hey, if you enter a different space in a different industry, you got to be ready to take it. Hey, take them bullets. The thing is, he needs to be ready to be prepared and see this through. So I want to see the continuation of Q socializing this plan, because you know what? This is what happens. Going back to vetting, I mentioned this earlier, and Anton, you gave me the background.
You still answer the question, did he, Tawana?
His background that talked and worked with his plan, but he didn't socialize the shit. So the thing is, I'm learning the plan just along with the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. He needed to socialize this. If this is a true grassroots, ground-up approach, this is what happens when you don't socialize the plan. You ever been at work and your boss will tell you, "Oh, this is what we doing"? Nigga, no. It's like, you need to walk me through this first before I agree to anything. So the thing is, you know what? He should have had them voices with him when he was planning.
Right.
I don't know. You sound like Trump on the last debate, man.
It ain't
just
Trump,
dodging
man.
them.
This is just how
You're dodging them questions.
You know what, though? I actually feel like D-Nick do not care. Like for real. Like I feel like he
may not care, but I want him to answer that question. I wanted to get a straight answer.
He don't care though. Like he really legit don't care.
That one, okay.
That was the answer. No,
Anton,
you gave me a question. I gave you the answer.
Gotcha.
Overreacting, no.
All right, I'm gonna go to Anton now. Anton, you saw that video. What were your thoughts?
Every last one of them is overreacting, and
what the tone of why are they overreacting, Anton?
They operate in the same way that every single person that has had criticism for Ice Cube in the first place has, which is they have not actually contributed, reached out, or did anything. You know, I want to see people track record when they got something to say about somebody else. I want to see how many times that they've reached out to their local officials and elected officials.
I agree. I want to see the other strategic plans that Ice Cube has provided on behalf of Black people. This is a different industry. This ain't rap. This ain't fucking entertainment. This is not music. This is not movies. So again, going back to track record, why are we giving Ice Cube so much attention when he's not known for strategic planning? So
is he just a face?
Now all of a sudden I gotta bow down to Ice Cube's plan because of his privilege, and we gotta fucking talk about this shit tonight. And we've been talking about this shit for an hour, and we can't move on to the next topic. I don't care. I said that at the beginning of the show.
All right, Tawanda, go ahead and close this out.
No, those women were not overreacting. However, I will say honestly that I read the full contract, and I do not believe he mentioned gender at all. I do believe that he really talked about things that would benefit anyone, whether you're female or male. The wealth gap. He talked about banking lending reform. He talked about the baby bond, where each kid will get $1,000, and it would be government funded money. He talked about interest-free loans for home ownership. He talked about de-escalation techniques for police officers. He absolutely did not mention gender at all, and he did not, to me, seem focused on a particular individual. I think that they may be triggered by the media and what's going on in the media and the responses people are saying. And I really urge all those ladies to go to his website and read his actual contract and see that there isn't a lot of sexist disparities. I think maybe the focus on police reform and arrest, it doesn't necessarily benefit women. So maybe that's what they mean, that some of the things don't benefit women, are not targeted, toward women. But I do believe that was a fair question.
Hey, the question was they overreacting? No.
No,
you wanted me
they
to
weren't.
More.
I got you.
We're not talking about content, right? You asked were they overreacting? No, they got the right.
It was a fair question.
Give them the space.
Yeah, it was a fair question.
Yeah,
it wasn't an overreaction.
Now, if you're talking about critiquing the plan and stuff like that, that's a different question, JR. But you asked me specifically, hey, were they overreacting? No, that's just how they talk. I'm sure you brought on another guest. They'll be asking the same type of questions, whatever. But the thing is, for Q, hey, and that's why I almost gotta go back to Tawana mentioned. You gotta big up D.L. Hughley. The thing is, as far as the transition, we still used to look at him as a comedian. He has now that track record of being in that space of politics. So now I'm able to give him more value. And when he talks about certain aspects of governmental affairs and politics, Cube talks about it in his raps, but this ain't it. This is the plan. This is about economics. So the thing is, what other things have Q done? And maybe I don't know. As far as Black economics,
I would say he's done some stuff. I'm not gonna.
What has D.L. Hughley done?
He's a part of several initiatives, and I think he is. He is an activist. He's not just
What specifically has he done for Black people?
Bush was still in office.
What physical significant thing has he done for Black people?
Do you research D.L. Hughley on a regular day? I don't know either. I know what Martin Luther King did at Rosa Parks.
Besides Lapeef being Black owned, I can't say what has been done in the community with Lapeef. I mean,
y'all just over talking. It don't matter.
So
name me one specific thing.
D.L. Hughley and Anton don't do nothing for Black people. Is that what we're saying?
Name me one thing Name me
You think
one
J.R.
thing
mentoring
that
people
D.L.
right now
Hughley.
after the show?
Name me
I'm
one
sorry,
thing
J.R.
that D.L. Hughley
deflecting.
has done outside of talk and run his mouth and criticize everybody else. Name me one thing he has done that has translated into anything positive for black people. Name me one physical thing.
I don't know. We'll see. That depends on how we define it. Because
Oh,
for me,
now it depends.
no, because
But he's so
I look
awesome.
at it. He's
Oh,
created
he's
the
at the
space.
forefront. Man, get this
That's what he
cornball
has
out of my
done.
face.
He's created the space.
All
It's
right.
the truth, man. Because the thing is, you know what we doing right now, Anton? Creating the space. Because somebody can ask us the same question on what Tawana
and I can run down a whole list of different things that I've done that has benefited my people. That's
but folks don't know that on top. Folks don't.
Right.
Folks
Don't nobody know that.
I don't just talk. Yeah, they do because it's champion.
We have to
it's
call.
really
Even if
happening
you
in the
did,
community.
JR, invite DL to the show. We need to ask him.
Yeah, I'm about to probably reach out to his people.
Yeah, reach out to his people. I want him on the show.
Nah,
no,
yeah,
his people. Because I want him on the show. I want him to tell us.
All right, y'all.
Hey,
we about to move on to the.
I didn't even know he was gonna play that clip. I thought we were prepared to talk about Q. And you talking about DL? I just know Buddy had a show and he created the space for dialogue.
Right.
The thing is, folks got a dialogue, Anton.
Yep.
That's what this is right now. So you got to give.
Oh, they got a dialogue.
Space.
But in order to have a dialogue, you actually got to be able to sit at the table. Goes back to our original conversation of people not even letting you have a conversation before you vote for them.
Q's not a politician, though, man.
He's not.
All right, y'all. We about to ready to close this one on out. We're gonna close this one on out.
Don't close it out.
We closing it out. We closing this one out.
So no, Anton, give more clarity, man. Give me more what you just mentioned. Unpack it for me.
You don't have to be. You know, it reminds me of the conversation that we had several shows ago, where we were talking about it, JR, and I was talking about how I put so much effort and so much time into a specific community and specific people, and then the only thing you get back from it is criticism and hate from the very people that you're working on their behalf. And it's so ironic to me that we are so quick to criticize other people that are putting themselves at the forefront of something that they actually believe they're doing out of like selflessness. They're not getting anything from it. Q literally is in a great space financially. He's accomplished. He can literally ride off into the sunset and just live his life. But he's decided to sacrifice and spend his time working on behalf of other people that don't have nothing but criticism and hate towards him and saying, why ain't you? Why ain't you doing this too? And why ain't you included this too? And I just hate this mentality that we feel like somebody owes us an explanation for something that they're doing on our behalf. That is the most ignorant, selfish perspective that you can take, like somebody owe you something. Oh, he got to qualify him, but he's not even a politician.
Anton, this ain't nothing new. You think about like with any martyr. You think about even with Malcolm and Martin. Which is exactly
why we in the position that we in.
Malcolm and Martin back
This is exactly why we in the position that we in. Because no other community treats people that's actually working on their behalf like we treat people, even when they look like us. I don't think it's just a black folk issue. We hate our own people. It comes with any position of leadership, man. Okay. Well, I unpacked it for you, so there you go. It comes with any position of leadership, man. You gotta be able to receive the hate. But the thing is, my only thing, and then we can close this out, JR, from this moment on. So since we're talking about Q, same way we talking about DL, we need to follow Q from this point on. My only thing as far as background resume, if Q, but this is the space he want to operate in as far as the next stage of what he's trying to do, you got to keep it going. You got to persevere and you got to be present. Because the thing is, post-election, are we going to hear from Q in January, March, April, May?
That's a good point.
Next election? Or was this kind of like, hey, I just had some time?
That's a good point.
So
JR, if I was Cube, I'd be like, every last one of these people, they know what they can do.
Hey, this is a different, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, Cube ain't asked me to be a part of this. He ain't asked me to be a part of this. Like, I may help him. Ice Cube, if you need a woman's perspective, you can reach out, okay? Right. I'm willing.
That's a good talk, y'all. Good talk.
Next subject.
I get it.
Hey, it'll be all right next. It'll be all right.
Hey, go.
Welcome to Lapeef. Let's talk. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you're just joining us, we just finished up our first topic. Moving on to the next. Sexual consent in a relationship. Sexual consent in a relationship. Recently, Jada, she has a Red Table Talk episode. So yeah, still comes on. And he talked about some things. It was quite interesting.
What her ratings looking like.
But it's been stirring up a lot of talk, and I'm gonna actually play a clip for you guys.
Great.
I was in a relationship for 2 years. I had consensual sex plenty of times during that relationship. I didn't want to be with him anymore. I told him that I was leaving, and he didn't want to hear that. He ripped my clothes off. I felt icky. I felt gross. Yeah. I felt I was taken advantage of. And it was terrible. And then he went downstairs and ate breakfast. Like he didn't do anything. So the gray area in that situation is I had sex with him so many times within these 2 years. I didn't fully understand what had happened. But I know what I felt like after.
Means no. So, Gam, you feel like nowhere in your history in regards to sexual intimacy have you felt like you've had a sexual experience that was not necessarily consensual or was, kind of in that gray area?
I have.
Okay.
But it was also with my husband.
Okay.
Your dad, actually. So that's really gray.
That is gray.
Hey, man, I don't even know what you got to say after that. Like, hey, JR, can we start screening these clips before we go live? Oh, man, bro. I didn't know we was talking about that.
I have not seen that at all.
That's the example?
That was a real raw.
Well, here's the thing, we have people.
I need a minute. Go ahead.
Okay. We have people that are in relationships, and when it's time to get it, the guys, if they want it, and the woman doesn't want it, then what is that? What does that look like in a relationship, in a marriage? And so I'm gonna start with you. After seeing that clip, what were your thoughts?
I don't know, man. I can't get past the head tattoo. Honestly, I can't get past the head tattoo. Man.
Well, you can't take nothing to stay serious.
That head tattoo is
man, and it's in cursive.
No, it's fine. It actually fading a little bit. That was like 2-3 years old tattoo. So
you see how much Vaseline she had on that thing?
No, I think it's fading. How tattoos fade, so it's fading a little bit.
No, she had the light kind of beaming.
Was it the light? Oh, okay.
It's the light, like it was like
it's prominent
because she's so light. It was like right there, spotlight.
You know what, JR? Also, this is the queen of the slut walk, right? So I want to just qualify the people that's having these conversations because it's almost like are these our spokespeople? You know what I'm saying? Are these are the people that's champion specific causes that I'm supposed to get behind? I think that it's gray on all sides. You know what I'm saying? I think that there's a lot of people or a lot of guys. Let me give a scenario, right? They say that no means no, right? And I actually it's funny because I seen a comedian, I think it was Bill Burr, that did a skit on this, and he, no means no, right? If a girl says no, but what if she no, you know what I'm saying? Like, come here. Does it still really mean no if she's still implying yes? Like, it's a huge gray area. A lot of people are saying that, you have to get it right now in order to truly protect yourself against the woman emphasizing or even implying that you did something that you're not supposed to do. Now, I'm a huge advocate against rape. Right? I'm against rape. I'm against rape culture. I'm against the whole idea that you forcing somebody to do something that you don't want to do. However, there are a lot of people that are implying rape culture when it's not rape. We are grown people, fam. If you don't want to do something with somebody, and I'm not talking about a situation where a woman is in a situation where she's overpowered or something like that. But don't tell me, oh, I didn't really feel like it, but I did it. So it's kind of like rape culture. Yo, we not doing that. We not playing that game, yo. Say what you mean what you say. If you don't want to be with him, don't go up to his hotel room. Like there's a lot of things that's going on in a lot of circumstances because I feel like context matters. Again, I'm not an advocate. I hate the whole idea of somebody doing something to somebody against their will. But then at the same time, you have to start having these conversations also that says, yo, what you're describing is that you got buyer's remorse, or you might have did something that you didn't, you woke up the next day and was like, yo, I don't like the way you treated me. That's not rape. That's not rape culture. And I want us to separate the two. We're too grown to still be having these conversations about sexual consent as far as people translating it into something that is not. And it's a lot of guys that's getting out of jail today from being accused of something that they did not do, but all we have to do is take somebody's word for it. I think we need to separate the two. And again, it's hard for me to even take Amber Rose. I couldn't even hear what she was saying because I was looking at that forehead. So it's a little different for me.
No, I think the thing that's kind of interesting is that these people are married, which Jada mother is married, and then Amber Rose was in a relationship. And so they've had sex. So I think that's what makes this kind of a little weird. So I've had situations where, and B-Nix and Anton, you can agree with me if you had these similar situations, but where a woman said, hey, why didn't you do anything to me when we woke up this morning? You just got to take it. So when you have women that say things like that, and I would say most women that I've had any sexual activity with have at least hinted or stated something to that nature, and when it was done, it wasn't an issue. Or if I didn't do it, you would get a text message or hear about it later, like, I was looking forward to you doing this. Oh, I didn't know. So Nix, after seeing that video and me giving this example, let me hear your thoughts about it.
Man, I don't know. I'm still like replaying the tape in my head and stuff. Now, are we changing? Not to say this was, they didn't say necessarily rape, but it's like, how are we defining this? Because it's like now we're talking about you're in a relationship with someone and they took it, or it was like it wasn't consensual. So I don't know. I've never ever processed or thought of it that way. And then it's like, am I guilty of that? Or I feel like real compromise right now, because it's like, well, the world is weird right now, because the thing is, it's like, well, I don't know. It's like I want to assume it's consensual, but like Anton mentioned, like no means no, but then no. Well, I didn't say no, but I didn't say yeah. So what is there to do? It's like, almost, do I need to have like a signed document of the person that I'm with before I have sex? And then that's so transactional, and it's like, it's not organic. It takes away the experience of sharing that moment with somebody up is this technical. I mean, I would rather,
and it take away the jail time.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a woman, so I don't know how it is to be on the receiving side of that. So it's like, I feel very ignorant right now, to be honest, and uninformed. Now, really, I feel challenged on how to answer this question. I want to hope that, my partner that I'm with is able to be honest enough to just tell me that, no, I would, even if I'm married or in a relationship, just say you tired.
We too grown for that, B-Nick. We too grown to be.
Well, no, but these are grown women. Like, not even.
That's what I'm saying. It's grown.
I hate to say it, going back to the author of the story, I did look at Amber Rose like, yeah, okay, whatever. But then, like, hearing it from Jada's, like, a more senior woman, it's like, where you're established as a person, you're a whole grown woman, and you carry yourself well. But the fact that you're saying that even with Jada's father, that there were times where I felt there was a gray area, and it was like, shit, define gray area. It's like,
That's why I said context matters, man.
It's to me, it scares me.
Hey,
It's not me personally, based on my relationship, but it scares any man or woman in a situation like that this could go left. Even if you with your partner, it still can go left. So it's like,
hey, Nix,
I can't answer.
Hey, Nix, there was more video, and I didn't want to make the whole show about the whole video, but there was another lady that they had on there. I think she's somewhat of a celebrity or something like that, and she just expressed, and I think some of Jada, as Jada's mother as well as Amber, expressed that they didn't know how to say no. But when I listened to that other guest they had on there, it was scary. I had that first thing just listening to her saying that she sat there and basically just took it. She went along with it, and she didn't know how to say no. And I think that was a scary part. So it's quite interesting. I think the conversation needs to be had, because when I looked through the comments, there were a lot of people saying that, yes, this happens all the time, and the conversation doesn't come up. I understand from a man's perspective, we're like, hey, you know, it's not a problem. You guys give us cues. You guys seem like you want it. You guys are enjoying it.
JR, they say you don't catch the cues, like the situation.
Right, and I understand that from the man's perspective. So, Tawana, just based off what you saw and what you've been hearing, I'd just love to hear your thoughts about this situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's been a recurrent thing. Like, marital rape and spousal rape exists for a reason. And the reasons why this issue comes up is not when it's like, oh, my wife is not in the mood and I took it anyway. It's like when a woman is like adamantly telling you no, like, I don't want to do this right now. And a man decides that I own this and you are my wife or you are my partner, and therefore I have every right to have sex with you because that is what you agreed to. That's when it becomes an issue. And
Tawana, can I say something real quick?
It's not about consent. It's not about, oh, I need to, like, we're in a partnership or whatever, and like I need to tell you, yeah, like, let's have sex right now. It's about the fact that sometimes, and I mean, even in my relationships, like, I may say no, and my man respects that. And like most men, you all respect that. There are some men who say, I don't give a damn, I want it right now, and forget what you said. Like, and they gonna take it. And that became an issue, and that became a problem, and that's why marital rape became an issue, like in the 90s, and it became like something where it was something that was discussed, and it was something that had been experienced, and a lot of men took it upon themselves to just throw themselves on women, and it could be a variety of women. You know, they could have been going through menstrual. It was a lot of reasons why women didn't want to do it. It wasn't just like, oh, I want to reject my husband. It was just that men felt like, I own you, and this is mine, and I'm going to take it when I want it. And so I think that's what they spoke to. And I think when Amber Rose specifically said, and I don't discredit people and I don't slut shame people, so you already know that. That's my premise. And what she specifically was talking about was that she was trying to end a relationship with someone. And he basically was not accepting of her ending that relationship. And as his last and final powerful move, he decided to take her, to have sex with her again. Because having sex with someone when they're resistant is a power thing. It's not about, oh, I just want to have sex because I'm like in the mood. It's not an intimate thing. It's not like I'm trying to connect with you on an intimate level. It's about power.
So when I can understand from that point of view, when a woman is saying no, I mean, absolutely, you should stop, whether it's your wife or whether it's your girlfriend or just somebody you might just be messing around with.
Yeah.
But there was, I should have probably put more video where it says, and this is the confusing part that I think B. Nix might have spoke about, is being in a relationship and a marriage and everything seemed like it's okay, and she has sex with you, but then later expresses that she didn't want to have sex or it was forced. I think that's the scary part, because now we're sitting here thinking, and even after this conversation and this video airs, we're probably going to go back and look like, damn, did she really want to have sex with me? Is it really a problem? Now we overanalyzing in the moment what she thinks.
Let me speak to that.
Let me say this one last thing. Now, what I have noticed is that if things are rocky, like if there are issues within the relationship and you guys are just together and then sex had, then I can understand that. You probably didn't want to have sex. You may have just did it because you guys, this is what you guys just do, even though there's arguments and issues within the relationship. But still in all, nothing's said until afterwards, because Jada's mother was saying that it's been a lot of times where she didn't want to have it and she had it, and then as well as that other young lady, which I did put in the video, but she expressed the same thing. I didn't know how to say no. So go ahead and respond to that, Tawana.
Yeah, I absolutely understood all of you guys' points with that blurred line, because regret is not sex. Regret is not rape. Like, I'm sorry, but just because you wake up and you look around and you regret that situation, you cannot call that rape. And I do think that there's a clear distinction between a woman physically saying to you, no, I don't want this, and you continue to pursue that even when she tells you no, and you continue and you're persistent and you actually take it knowing that this woman is against it. But if a woman agrees to it, whether you regret it or not, honey, that is not rape. And I understand that you may regret it and you may have second thought it and you know what, I shouldn't have done that. But that's all it is. It's just that I shouldn't have done that. And I am an avid, and I mean, I think that this needs to be clear, so that when it does come to prosecution with these criminals who really do just like abuse the power of sex, like there's a clear distinction between a woman who just regrets what she did and a woman who really was violated. And I think that because I've had so many instances of sexual abuse in my family with youth, with children under the age of 18 and grown men, that I am a huge advocate of, you know, these women were adamantly against what was happening to them and had no power to control these men who were taking advantage of them. And I want to make a distinction between a woman who just wake up the next day and just didn't like that her husband, you know, he didn't perform the way she wanted, or maybe she wasn't into it that night. Because, you know, to be honest, like as a wife, like, you know, we do it, whatever, because we want, you know, we just want our man to be happy, like sometimes, and that's not in any way, to me, the same thing. And so if that's the correlation that they were making, I'm totally against that. Absolutely.
Hey, you want to know what's kind of crazy? And somebody on our group actually said it, and I was going to actually get to this point. So they said, so when a man adamantly says no to his wife, then he is fucking, excuse my language, women, or he's cheating. That's a great point, because like the woman can say no and then it just has to be it, but when a man says no, it's like a double standard. Anton, you want to address that?
Weird, man. Like this. Oh my God! Like, like I don't know. I mean, listen. Like 20. Like the world is weird, man. I don't know. I don't belong here.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
This is
my chick. She has this thing. She literally says, "I say, yo, if I tell you no, no means no." She'll say, "No don't mean no. We married. It's not rape if we marry." This is literally what she says to me.
This is what your chick say.
Seriously. So now I'm thinking to myself, and I know it's all, you know, fun and jokes, but she really believes this in her mind. So then I'm thinking, like, yo, is it a double standard in society? Because obviously I don't have any problems or anything like that. But then, like, is it a double standard, bro? Like,
well, I don't know. I'm about to get my notebook out because I don't know if you've been raped before, Anton. I have to. I need to diagnose you.
You know what? Here's a good description.
If you said no,
I'm like Amber Rose. I'm like Amber Rose, like, or the mama. Like, I don't know if I wanted to. You know what I'm saying?
I think I might have to agree. You know, you might need to sit at the red table with him.
I guess like, because Tawana mentioned this about like regret, right? So the thing is like, I want to say that like, if this is my partner, I want to assume we could be 100 with each other. But
that's a lot of assuming. It's a lot of trusting.
Well, yeah, but that's what the part that bothers me, where it's like, you know, you mentioned earlier, Anton, we're being adults, right? So then, like, adults aren't able to be true adults because you're adults about certain things. Like, shit, we was mouthing off about us like or disliking Q. We go on and on and on about that, but something that's very personal, that's very intimate. That's something like, you know, I didn't say no, but I didn't say yeah. And the thing is like, I almost feel like these are those gotcha moments. You know what I mean? That really these moments that really can change someone's life as far as their level of freedom. You know what I'm saying? Because like, this like big jail time. And I think I'm more sensitive to it as being a man, because going back to the double standard JR alluded to, it's not going to be treated, viewed, perceived, or prosecuted the same way. You know, if it's the other way around. But then it's like, well, you know, define, like, you can't define something that nothing's established. If the person didn't say no, then the person, you know, it's, I want to say, why are you with someone
well, sometimes
that you feel you can't talk to them?
Maybe sometimes you can't consent, right? Because there was instances, and that's why the marital rape case became such a huge issue, where her husband was drugging her, and he was having sex with her in the middle of the night. She had no idea, like she didn't know what was going on, and he was like, that's drugging her.
But
exactly.
I mean, but hold on.
But I'm saying
that's
happening.
I mean, it is.
That's clear
fits
cut.
the definition.
And nobody is advocating for
that. That is not what they were advocating based on the clip on Red Table Talk.
Right.
But hold on. But that's clear cut. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that shouldn't happen. That's very clear. But the problem that I'm having a lot of times is similar to what you were saying. It's buyer's remorse.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I see this really originating more like if, you know, under the influence, right? Because the thing is, let's say it's somebody that is a new partner, not somebody you've been with for years or whatever, or you think something is consensual, they didn't say no, but the variable is that how inebriated are you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We could go down so many variables that really just all go wrong.
Because we could both be drunk. What if we both drunk? You know what I'm saying?
I tell a lot of young guys, I say, fam, you can either do it two ways. I know you don't want to do it the way that I'm suggesting, which is get it signed, bro. Like, literally.
Yeah, but like, you know what? I would agree with you, Anton, but
get it signed,
the examples
bro.
that we just saw on the show, this is with people that you're with already. That's the part where I'm blown. Because now I'm not negating those women's stories. But the thing is like, they're literally up here saying that it was not consensual, but yes, that's their partner. And Jada's mom actually said, that's my husband. So it's like,
but B Nix, like, if you go back,
that was your daddy. That was your daddy.
To the actual thing, if you go back to the actual thing,
it gives a perception like this dude is a monster.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
If you go back to what Amber Rose was saying, if you go back to what she was saying, and again, I don't know what the clear-cut context is, because she was not very clear in that she said no.
No, she didn't say
that. She just said, I didn't want to when he ripped my clothes off and then he had breakfast. Like, you know what I'm saying? For a lot of people, that's
communication.
That's they know, right?
Like, did we just move on, or did she join the breakfast table? Like, hey, pour me up some cereal. Like,
that's what I'm saying,
like, that's the thing. I need more, and I'm not saying
that's what I'm saying too. I need more, fam, and I'm not just gonna sit here.
You know, I hate sound bites, man. Like, it's just a sound bite. I know we don't watch the whole show.
My advice to dudes: either get his signature. Like, it's even easier than ever because you don't even have to carry around paper no more. You can carry around it on your phone. Either get the signature or get it recorded where she was like, yes, this is what I want to do.
Man, this is wow. I gotta talk to Toya about this tonight
after
the show.
Walk away.
This is like it's like where are the guardrails in which we're operating in the safe space? So the bed with your wife is still not a safe space.
It's the
no. I think that typically men who engage in this with their spouse or their partner is typically abusive in other ways too. It's not, oh yeah, like
oh my God.
That's the trend.
You're saying like this happens all now, like I'm blown. Like, so this happens.
It is a lot of statistics on marital rape being like a real thing that happens. Spousal rape, partner rape, it's a real thing that happens.
You feeling real ignorant on
but it's usually associated with other forms of abuse, like domestic violence and physical abuse. So there is other things that trigger. It's not just like oh, me and my wife on different pages today and she gonna call it rape. No, don't go into your relationships feeling like I need to ask my wife to sign a disclosure agreement before. No,
I don't know.
I don't know, but that's
to
not it.
Two different types of ladies explain situations very calmly but very real, as if these are traumatic events that took place that are done like in the dark, in the night.
Well, I do believe that her father there was some issues there. There was some abuse. He was very physically abusive, and like a lot of different things happened. I don't think it was primarily just like, oh, she felt like.
But see, that's a part of the problem that I think also is that, you know, we just automatically assuming because she's older and she looks more astute and she's well taken care of, that it's not another side to the story. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of times I think that there's a lot of guys that have a completely different narrative or another side to the story that they would want to talk about, but we already killed him. Like, he dead in the water. Ain't nothing that he better not ever come on no show or nothing, because she already killed him. She already killed his name without no context. None of that, fam. Like, I don't know, man.
Will Smith need an opposite show of her, man.
And Nick, go ahead and close us out, Nick. Go ahead and close us out, Nick.
Hey, Jada out here, like that was her show back. I seen the little pop up on Facebook. That was the first show back after her.
No, it was the second.
The second?
Yep.
Oh, he was a monster. Okay, because you sound like one, but then hell, the thing is, it's people that's listen to this because we listen to these type of shows as a self-advocacy show. Say, you know what? Me too. And if somebody's sitting around watching this over and over on the red tape saying that happened to me too, and then now it's like I feel uninformed. I mean, I don't know. I almost feel like I'm scared to be a man in that type of situation because I don't. If you can't tell me no, and you can't tell me yes, then at this point I want to say then don't do it, then, right?
But I mean, but dog, it's a lot.
But it's like, but isn't that weird? That goes against like our ability of natural, just like it just happens. It's like, hold on. Hey, I need you to consent. Can you record? Can I record you real quick?
Yep.
Say yes in the camera.
Yep. Listen, man.
When you know what, you don't say yes. I mean, I don't know if I'd be like,
no, hey, based on those
let's do this. Like, it just happens, right? I don't know.
Say yes to Toy. I need her consent.
I don't. If I say no,
if I say no, listen,
I mean no.
This is the landscape. Not only do you need her consent,
you make me sound like I gotta put in a reservation that we've agreed on Sunday at about 9:30, whenever the kids go to sleep. That both me and you have agreed. I'm gonna send you a calendar invite, and it's gonna last for X amount of minutes.
Yep,
maybe.
I'll send you a disclosure agreement.
Not only do you need consent, she better not be too drunk when she consented, because
it's almost I can't do it drunk. I need you sober, because then it's like and the thing is we don't know all the details. Cause like I think we mentioned about the Jada Pops. I mean, and mom situation, but even with the Amber thing, because the thing is, don't get me wrong. Hey, Amber, regardless of that big ass tack, dude, she's a beautiful woman. She really is. So the thing
all right, that's where you lost me.
She is. She's a beautiful woman.
We can agree to disagree on that.
We never known her personally, but she
close us out, Nick. Close us out, Nick.
She always has guys, but the thing is, it's like, man, I need like not even for this. Not
you said she always has guys.
You phrasing this to a young cat. Hey, old cats too. Y'all need to be prepared of having that conversation up front while dating. This kind of goes down the checklist of things that we need to.
Well, hold on. We're not just gonna gloss over the fact that you just said she always has guys. I seen a chick on my 600-pound life lose a man and get another man like the next day.
Hey, somebody made a joke about that. You ever notice those shows? They always got a man, like they never seen.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, just because she always got a guy, that's not the validation that she.
I seen guys holding them down and everything. Like I've seen real love.
Anton said men are hunters, right? Regardless of any shape, size.
I've seen real love.
No, men are hunters, right, Anton? And they hunt, regardless of size. Right?
Women are trusted.
Sometimes the prey is easier to catch. She seems a little bit easier to catch.
Hey, I don't know. Everybody got their preference, man. But I don't know. The thing is with this thing, JR, this I don't know, man. I gotta process this, man. I gotta reflect a little bit. This got me I don't know. I mean, I ain't do nothing, audience. I didn't. I swear. But
you sweating? You got a little sweat bubble. I see that little same spot on your forehead that Amber Rose had.
No, this got me feeling away. It do like, and I'm not saying I admit I'm not part of this world. I don't know how it is from a woman's perspective. But the thing is, you got to think of like certain situations when you out clubbing, one night stands and stuff, college life, stuff like that.
I'm not
like,
participating.
You know how much like unauthorized sex that just goes on and then it just happens. And like now, this is basically saying like, hey, no, actually, I didn't want that last night. So I think that's the part. Tawana, we're not reading from some rule book saying what's the difference between regret and rape. Right now, it's like, I don't know what are the rules of engagement right now based on the current world we live in.
All right, well, there we have it, man. All right, welcome to Lapeef. Let's talk. If you guys are just joining us, we are on our third topic, which is monogamy. Monogamy.
Why you gotta say it like that, man?
Monogamy.
Yeah, like
he ain't trying to be monogamous. Monogamy.
Yeah, you sound like you selling a product or something, man.
Might be. To be continued. So it's been a lot of talks around monogamy, and DeVale and KD, they got their podcast, which is called Dead Ass Podcast, and there was a clip that's making a huge circulation right now. So I'm gonna play a little snippet for you guys right now.
I am not allowed, based on our marriage laws and the contract we've signed with each other, to have sex with anybody else.
Right.
So these urges that come, I have to share them with the one person I decide to spend the rest of my life with.
Right.
So that brings me back to my soundbite.
Okay.
Right. I don't understand, and this is what we can discuss. As a woman, because I don't want to say it's a man versus woman thing, but a lot of women do complain, oh, my husband's always on me. Why is he always on me? If sex is going to be a chore for you that you don't really want to do, why do women constantly push monogamy on men? If you know that you don't want to have to deal with him all the time just wanting you, why do you push monogamy on men?
Well, who's to say I pushed anything on anybody? Like,
well, we know that you pushed monogamy on me.
I pushed monogamy. I forced you to get married to me?
Time out. I didn't say you forced me to get married, but did you not say to me that you wanted to be engaged and you wanted to be married before you lived with me? You didn't say that?
I want $1 billion. That don't mean I'm going to get it.
Let's even talk about dating, right?
Okay.
Two people are dating. Typically, in society, who asks for exclusivity first, a woman or a man?
I would say a woman.
Thank you. That was my whole point. See, you were going all over the place. If women typically ask for exclusivity first, then when they get exclusivity, say, he always on me, he always want to have sex. Why are we asking men for exclusivity if we do not want to participate in sex at the same level as men? We have to think about what that does to a man.
I hear that.
And I don't think that conversation is being had.
Okay, I agree. And that part I agree with, yes.
Don't see nobody smiling. B-Nix, after watching that clip, what were your thoughts? I mean, should it be a chore if a man asks for sex with his wife or somebody he's in a relationship with?
I'm sorry, I'm still mentally on the previous topic, man. But man, I don't know. I want to say like it should be mutually agreed upon. I don't want no token booty. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. Like, I want that person to want it equally. But the thing is, I understand where he's coming from. It's like if I'm in a committed relationship, and it's not even the fact I know we do the not to be cliche, we say, a man got needs. Women do too. So the thing is, in that regard, I think it goes both ways. But it's one of those that like, hey, I'm cool with being committed in that relationship. But the thing is, like, I don't know, like with that clip, I don't know the expectations that they set forth. You know what I'm saying? I think that it shouldn't be this complicated. But the thing is, don't be with someone if you're not ready to be monogamous. And I think that's the part where people, you can't have your cake and eat it too. If this is what you want, these are the things I would appreciate. I think going back to Anton, like, hey, you got to set all this up front about these are my expectations for you, and these are the expectations for me. Like, if, hey, I want to fuck, I want to go on trips, I want to make money, and I want to build my own empire. Are you coming with me or not? Cool. But if you don't know what you really want, and that's the thing, I think people get into relationships and they don't know what they want, and they say, we project the things that we think we want. We want to be in a committed relationship. We want someone to be monogamous. But then guess what? When we get the person, then we get bored with the person, and then we step out on the person. And step out on the person, that is the opposite of what we already got at home. It's almost, to me, I hate to say it goes back to the body count conversation, right? And I don't know if all men agree. And I know Anton probably going to disagree with me as usual. Men always say, like, hey, I want someone with a low body count, right? And the thing is, you get somebody and you marry that woman with that low body count, right? That, cliche church-going woman that, cooks, cleans, do whatever I need to do. And then you get bored, right? Because you're committed to the same booty the whole time, right? Nothing new. So then you're like, man, hey, we need to go to the club, JR. Hey, no, this weekend, I got to get out the crib. And guess what? I find someone possibly with a higher body count, I'll just leave it at that, higher than what I already have, that could do all the things I would like for them to do, all the fantasies and things like that. So the thing is, it goes back to, like, human beings are greedy. We're very greedy. We're greedy about sex. We're greedy about food. We're greedy about money. We're greedy about cars, how many cribs we got. We apply that same logic that we want to be greedy. A lot of this come down to greed, but you got to know at what stage you are in your life. And if you want to be monogamous, you need to be ready to commit to that for the duration of that relationship. If you're not ready to be monogamous, I would hope someone will be upfront, like, hey, this is just, I'm not making no commitments to anyone. We've seen it. That's why we've been getting more of these conversations, more open. People have been more open about having multiple relationships or dating multiple people at the same time. Hell, I think somebody posted in the group about, like, this woman got a husband and a boyfriend. That's different. Is that for me? No. But to each his own. For one, it's like one woman, two dudes. What's two dudes though? Anyway, I know we're not here to talk about that, but it's like one of those, like, hey, I appreciate just folks being honest, but when I was listening to him talk, he sounded like a man that's trapped, that I'm doing this because my girl, this is what she wanted, so I'm gonna conform to what she wants. But it sounded like there's a matter of time that he's gonna step out. I don't think that he was necessarily wanting to be in a monogamous relationship. He doesn't sound committed. So that means it's just a matter of time before you step out. You can't untame the hunter, right? If you still ready to hunt, you got to let that person go hunt.
Tawana, let's talk about the male's mindset, right? If he has a partner, he wants her to be the recipient when he's feeling horny.
Okay.
Straight to the point, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So, in a relationship, if he approaches his woman, his wife, whatever the title may be at that time, why should she not give in to him? Why does he have to beg or work in order to get that booty?
Well, it's a few things.
Yeah, please enlighten us. I'm curious.
Yeah, when you're in a relationship, it's a trade-off. Okay, every time your man not in the mood, and every time the woman is not in the mood, and people in monogamous relationships,
the men can't be out of the mood ever.
Yes, men can be.
It's an issue.
No, it's not an issue. You guys are not, and I mean, we can, survey women in your life to get a real response, but I'm telling you that men have issues as well. It's not always as fluid. And so don't act like it's not a trade-off. Everyone has their time when they don't want to have sex, whatever the case may be.
I agree with JR with that. It is a different expectation.
It's a different expectation.
We may not want to have sex, but if we don't have sex, then there's going to be a conversation the next morning. Within a couple of days, a conversation
if y'all
comes.
want to have y'all male-centered approach, that's cool. I'm going to talk about it from the female perspective. There's a trade-off, and I believe that it is in every monogamous situation where women and men have issues with intimacy, and after you've been with somebody for 5 years, for 7 years, intimacy changes, and they've been together for a very long time. And she said that her childbearing, if you watch the entire show, her childbearing and like having children affected her sex drive, and it made her different. And she really didn't anticipate that when she initially got married.
How long
maybe
have they been together?
She has 3 kids. I don't know. I don't have 3 kids. I'm just saying that this is what happened to her in her situation. She said that affected her sex drive. So when sometimes things happen in relationships and marriages that are totally different, and you have to really be real with yourself, be true to yourself, and you have to be like, okay, is monogamy really a relationship that's my truth, like that fulfills me, or if I really just want to be polyamory, like do I really want that? And I think that, or do I want some other type of situation? And I think that every relationship is different. However, some people really just get fulfilled from being in a monogamous situation. And therefore, you have to be on the same, like you have to communicate with your partner, and you have to make sure y'all on the same page. Like, my man gonna be pleased no matter what. I feel like that's how a woman should think when she got a man. And that's my opinion. Like, hey, this is my man, and I'm gonna make sure I'm always doing what he's doing. However, I don't believe just because you have sex with a man whenever he wants that he's still gonna cheat on you. So let me make that very clear. That I'm not telling women, yeah, have sex with your man, don't deny him, and when you don't feel like it, do it anyway because he won't cheat. No, there has been proven theories or studies that show that even women who don't reject their man, who don't deny their man sex, their men still cheat on them and still have other relationships outside of their marriage and their relationship. So it's not about that. And it's about more of the intimacy, men wanting the connections with other women. It's less about how often your wife is doing that. And he's being very honest with her, which I appreciate, and telling her like that he's frustrated about, okay, whatever her sex drive and whatever happening in their marital relationship, and that communication is essential. Hopefully she really listened to him and addressed those things, because I mean, obviously that's the first step. I think that men need to just communicate with you and tell you what's going on, what's missing, so that you can kind of talk about it. I don't think that men, I think that, you know, in a monogamous relationship, you have to be very intentional about making sure that you're sexually satisfying each other. I think sex is super important in a relationship. And I don't want my man out here feeling like I ain't giving him what he needs and he ain't giving, like, I need him to know, like, that's what it is. So I think that, you know, that was good that they had that conversation. You know, it happens. You got to have that conversation. Even when you've been in a relationship for many years, sometimes it's time to come back and be like, you know, we need to get this back on track. So
Then I want to ask you this. Do you feel as though the reasons that she gave, do you think that it was justified as far as why she wasn't having sex, or do you feel as though she should have still had sex?
Yeah, I think it was justified. I mean, I think she understood. Yeah.
What was her
what you mean?
Again, they was kind of
She
like,
basically said that her sex drive decreased, you know, because after she had children, her sex drive was just like different, and she really didn't know how to deal with those. And when you have children, men don't have children, there's a lot of hormonal changes that happen to your body, and so it's things that change within your. So I understand what she's saying. I'm not saying that should be like she should just stop there. She should continue to figure out how to correct that, how to get her hormones balanced so she can get back right. But I'm just saying that, yeah, that's something where her husband should be like, okay, I see what you're saying. Like, your hormones change, your sex drive decreased. Okay, let's see what we can do to work on it. Now, if she's not giving the effort and she's not trying to work on it, now I understand why her husband gonna be like.
Well, that's the thing, because he was talking from he was trying to figure out, but it was still coming from like a slightly frustrating space. I just
it was
like, you know, that's her, you know, her guy. So the thing is one of those like, if that is the case, I would have appreciated if she would have been more forthcoming. Like, it felt like he had to pull that information out of her, you know? So the thing
Well,
is,
he's the
Savannah,
host.
is that difficult
You said
to
he's
have that conversation?
he's the host? Oh,
He's
okay.
the host.
They
He's
say
the
he's a
host.
hoe.
No, I say he's the host.
I got you.
I don't even disrespect anybody like that. He's the host. So he was kind of starting the conversation. And you have to listen to the entire show, B-Nix, because they really got more in detail about it, and she really started talking about the reasons that happened. And I think that he was more frustrated. I feel like maybe that night or that day she had rejected him because he was like full throttle ready.
I'm not really sure that he was buying exactly what she responded and how she responded. I don't think he was buying it.
Well, it's time for him to re-examine the relationship he's in, right?
Okay.
If you feel like your wife not meeting your needs and you have communicated that to her and she's unwilling, because if my man come to me and tell me that, and that ain't my husband, but I'm gonna figure it out. So I feel like she needs to figure it out. Like I would have figured it out that night. Like, let me see what I gotta do. I don't know, because I'm in a relationship. I committed to this person, and I would never want that person to feel like I'm not fulfilling some need that they need. And if I can't do it, then you understand what's gonna happen as a result. That's just my opinion. Like just being in a relationship. So
all right, I'm gonna go to Anton, but before I go to Anton, I'm gonna put this up real quick. The husband should fulfill his wife's sexual needs, and the wife should fulfill her husband's needs.
Really?
The wife gives authority over her body to her husband, and the husband gives authority over his body to his wife. Do not deprive each other of sexual relations unless you both agree to refrain from sexual intimacy for a limited time so you can give yourselves more completely to prayer. Afterward, you should come together again so that Satan won't be able to tempt you because of your lack of self-control.
Satan.
Anton, when you saw that clip,
oh man, we doing scripture.
What were your thoughts?
Oh man, bro, you know how I feel about that. We doing scripture.
I just want to put a little message out there for people that's tuning in.
Hey, I'm gonna set up like that on like Sundays or something. Man. That's like scripture. But that's the King James version. Anton, I forgot you got the floor.
Yeah, go ahead. When you first saw that clip, what were your thoughts?
I had the same question that I haven't seen anybody answer, which is
if you don't put that
why do women push monogamy on men when they are not prepared to fulfill his needs? And it's a valid question.
Not true.
It's a valid question that when I looked at all of the comments and I looked at the narrative and all of the discussions, all of the women, they went all the way around it. They went around the original question that he asked and that he posed, and then they went into, well, ain't nobody forcing you, and all. The narrative always get changed around and switched up, and then they want to discuss, well, he shouldn't have said it like that. Well, the original question still needs to be answered, and he asked it to women, which is, why do women advocate for and push monogamy on men when they are not fully prepared to give themselves and satisfy his needs as he needs to be satisfied according to, whatever that is. And I don't see any woman having that discussion. I don't see any woman even interested in participating in that part of the conversation, and they're going to go all around it. So he asked a valid question, and I see women getting mad if a guy steps out. I see women getting mad if he shows interest in somebody else. I see women getting mad if he shows a lack of interest in her, as though it's like something that he wants to do, like he wants to show a lack of interest. And I'm not speaking, see, look at the comments. And I'm not speaking specifically to him per se, but in general, women go all around the subject. And so when a man have a serious conversation and say, yo, my sex drive is here, this is what I need, the narrative always becomes, oh, well, he should be more understanding, and her body is going through changes, and it's always her. It's always around her. But he's the one that's in the predicament. He's the one that's got the scenario. He's the one that brought up the issue in a really good way as far as how he's communicating effectively. So how come nobody is able to answer this question that why are women requiring monogamy but are unable to give themselves fully in a way that he feels as though would satisfy his needs? That's the main thing I took away from the
women are not required. Men require monogamy just as much as women. And most men are not okay with their woman having sex with other men. So if you're going to ask for open relationships, then you're going to have to accept that your woman may want to have an open relationship as well. So are you open to opening your relationship up on both ends? And if you are, then cool. Talk about it with your wife. Talk about it with your wife.
Change the narrative.
No, talk
clip,
about it with your wife. You're not open on both ends.
In that clip, and I know you watched it, the narrative was he asked her a very specific question. He said, hey, weren't you the one that advocated for and said, I want monogamy, and this is what I want my relationship to be, and so on and so forth. And he gave all of these different narratives, and she said, yes. Yeah,
monogamy means you have sex with me for life. That doesn't mean.
And then he said, as it relates to this issue that I'm having, how come you don't want to address it? And she went all around the question and said, I never thought about it like that. I wonder why women aren't having these conversations before marriage and all this stuff. But she never answered the question.
Women are having those conversations.
Look at you.
He ain't having those conversations.
Still not answering the question.
I did just answer the question. I told you specifically. And one, let me tell you this. We don't know how frequently they have sex. And what if they have sex? What if he want to have sex multiple times a day, 7 days a week? And maybe that's unrealistic to any relationship. We don't even know what the frequency is. All we're doing is basing it on whatever the comment was. She could have just had sex with him 2 days ago, and maybe he just wanted sex that day and he's frustrated. Like, you just don't even know. So I'm not quick to comment on people's
relationships. I don't know. He's the one that asked.
I don't do that. I don't do that. But I'm gonna say
you don't want to do. You don't wait. So
I don't do that. Period. I don't do that. Period. When you try to put me in a box, I'm not in no box. Okay, I comment based on how I feel and what I know.
In the group, and you was willing to deep dive the fact that ain't nobody forcing you to do nothing and all this other stuff, but you don't want to deep dive that though.
Yeah, because first of all, somebody tagged me to that particular post based on my last conversation on the podcast and was like, oh, Tawana, blah, 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 and tried to kind of, address some things that I said in the previous podcast. And what I said to them was that you don't get forced into a relationship. That's not what JR's question is. I don't believe in forcing somebody. I don't believe in this pressure thing. I told y'all that, all three of y'all, that is ridiculous. That whole idea of you pressured me into this and that. No, you a man who made a decision and you take accountability for that. And that's my stance. That's my stance, and I stick with it. However, what I will say about that whole situation and relationships is that monogamy don't mean that I'm just gonna have sex with you whenever you want. Monogamy means that I am your sex partner for life, and that I feel that you should not go outside of our relationship, and we have agreed to this thing. So communication is the way to address issues.
Not good enough.
Well, you agreed to marry me.
Not good
enough. That's what you agreed to. If you don't want to agree to that, then marry someone who's open.
On me and talk this. Well, I'm your sex partner and the only sex partner you're gonna have for life. No, you're gonna fulfill some needs. You're gonna meet some expectations. I agree with and we're gonna get down.
I didn't say that you shouldn't. I'm just telling you what it is.
The only thing is, I think it's a variable in this that, is it the same as it was when y'all first got together? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it ain't gonna be the same.
Well, I don't know. The thing is, like, everybody's body
is not
exactly the same.
It's more for me.
Needs and demands. Then what are the alternatives? What can we do?
Whatever.
So the thing is,
it's more for me.
See, I almost feel like that's the thing where
I'm the bust down
like the clip we watched. You can't just shut it down. If this is a thing and this is your partner and this is a real thing, it's like with anything else, we got to work it out to figure out what's the alternative. What can we do? And the thing
but
is,
you know what, B-Mix?
Is no longer a priority.
You know what the problem with that statement is, B-Mix? Is that I agree with you, but you can't work out something if somebody is unwilling to address the question.
Yeah, that's actually, you took the words out of my mouth. I was going with that next point. I was going at that next point. You can't shut it down. The thing is, like girl did, she just put the wall up. Like, nope, these are the things. These are all the things on why it can't happen. So now it's like you're not working with me now. So Anton, you're absolutely right.
Where you talking about in the podcast?
Huh?
You talking about in the podcast that she put walls up in the clip?
In the clip, and actually what you're talking about too. Well, you can't just shut
they
it down.
They are just trying to get you emotionally charged. You got to listen to the entire thing. I'm telling y'all, context is important. She was not
that was just a sound bite just to get this conversation going.
He trying to get y'all emotionally charged. That ain't what that woman's intention was.
No, he asked a valid question. Why isn't he trying to get anybody emotionally charged?
Because the thing is, it's not.
He's trying to get you emotionally charged.
Think about it. What you just
y'all be following
earlier. You said every day, but that's not going to happen. So then now it's like, guess what? The wall went up, right? So that's the thing where it becomes one of those like.
You ain't now. Hold on, B-Nix. I got a better one for you. I got a better one for you.
You did say that.
You ain't never gonna sit here.
You did say that though.
Hold on, B-Nix. You ain't never gonna tell me.
Y'all so centered on the decisions y'all make.
We're not even gonna start the conversation with you telling me what ain't gonna happen. That's a red flag right there, fam. Real talk. What ain't gonna happen? What you say to me?
Y'all so centered on the decisions y'all make, y'all can't see.
Oh, it's our decision
what
for
decision?
You. Wait, B-Nix. We just talked
to agree to monogamy with somebody who don't have the same sex drive as you.
And advocating for women as far as ensuring that should not ever happen. Now
you think about it,
that's on the other side of the spectrum and saying, okay, I want to communicate with you and ask you a valid question as to why you refuse to acknowledge and meet this need, and continue to go all around it and make excuses, and you ain't got nothing to talk about now.
But you think about it, those are like the two main contributing factors why people break up, like sex and money.
Yep.
Hey, fellas, I want to ask you guys something. So, hypothetically, I'm not saying it has happened or it has happened, but in a relationship, if your wife or your mate says, "No, I don't want to have sex," and turns over
for that night.
Yeah. I mean, for that night, or it's happened maybe a couple times. You notice or something like that, where she's turned over and said, "No, I don't want to do it tonight." But how does that make us feel?
I'm pissed.
I don't want you.
But right now, present day, all right, fine, man. I'm gonna just
no.
But I was
pissed. B-Nix is the nice one. I don't want you now, like, because it's gotta be a mutual interest, and that's the part where it makes it difficult for me to understand rape in general. Because why would you want somebody or to take control of somebody who don't even want to be bothered with you? So I can't relate to these dudes that embrace rape culture, because it's almost like it has to be a mutual interest. And the same thing on her part. She shouldn't want me if I don't want her. Like, I have to make her feel wanted, which means that the girl that was in that clip, his wife, needs to place more effort into making him not just satisfied, not just participate, not just saying, okay, he wanted, so I'm gonna give it to him, but making him understand that he's desired. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
I can't relate.
Well, I kind of want
to turn off, because the thing is like, if anything, especially I would say even like the variables as we get older, the longer you're with someone, because it becomes normalized. It becomes like you don't want it to be a chore. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is like, hey, I'm actually texting you during the day instead of just saying like, hey, I'm ready. Like we just hitting the button like it's automatic. It's like, hey, I'm building up the momentum, but it has to go both ways. So the thing is, to hear just say like, oh, I'm not in the mood. But the thing is like, I admit, I want context, because then it's like, well, how do I know when you're in the mood? I need a cue. And if you're not going to give me a cue, and you can't give me the B100 with me, then that's when it starts getting fucked up. The thing is, if you're telling me no, if you're telling me no, okay, cool. Like Anton mentioned, this is a one-time thing, I get it. But the thing is, like, you're telling me no because is it something I did? Is it something going on at work?
To me, if your man is telling you that he's telling you like sexually, look, I'm feeling like you rejecting me, there's an issue that you need to really think about, and you need to like tackle that quick.
That's the thing,
and that's my opinion.
I would say in some cases, women don't look at it from that lens and just be like, man, you want it every day. I'm done. I'm not in the mood. I got to do this. And
Hey,
then
Nick.
it becomes one of those. It becomes an argument.
Hey,
So
Nick,
then
I
it's
want to
like,
ask
the thing
you.
is, it goes back to the double standard. Because the thing is, if I was to say no at any given time, I'm cheating.
I ain't arguing.
I'm lying. I'm doing something. I'm thinking about somebody else. I'm texting somebody. I'm doing everything else. If I'm just straight up tired, right? I've already done something wrong. So then now, am I supposed to think about her the same way? Oh, I'm not in the mood. Like, am I supposed to say, like, you done something with somebody else? You've been out. Was you really out with your girl? No man is going to really go down that lane. But guess what? There are some men out there that we talked about earlier, how people become crazy. This is another situation. This is the onset of crazy. Because guess what? You're shutting me down. You're telling me no. You go waking up the next day. You don't even make it up to me. Think about it. I get it. You fall asleep that night. Guess what? First thing in the morning, hey.
What about y'all men that be falling asleep?
Huh?
Y'all men. You know, y'all men, y'all change. That's why they got blue pills.
I think the thing is that
that's why they got blue pills.
If men fall asleep, it's an issue. But if the woman falls asleep, then it's supposed to be acceptable.
It's an issue both ways. If a woman falls asleep, it's the issue. If a man falls asleep, it's the issue.
Well, that's your opinion.
But guess what?
I'm speaking about the majority. The majority of women will say it's a problem.
No, you're not speaking of majority, JR.
I'm speaking the majority of the women.
From a male perspective, you cannot just be like, I'm speaking from majority. Actually, women are majority, so you speaking from.
If a man turn over and say, I'm not in the mood, a woman's gonna go hysterical. She's gonna go crazy.
No.
You know, she may turn over, but then 5-10 minutes later, she tapping you like, so tell me, what's going on? You waiting to have sex with me?
You know what? You need to be clear, and I think he did a great job at communicating with his wife. And
Hey, Nix.
exactly
Hey, Nix.
what the problems were.
Hey, Nix, I want to stick with you real quick. I think women have to understand long term the effect. I'm not saying that a woman can't say no, but when you've been with somebody for so long, you've been in a relationship, and you guys are used to having sex, when a woman says no, if she doesn't have any explanation whatsoever that can help you, okay, I see your point. If she doesn't say any of that, like, how does that affect the man long term? And I think Anton kind of touched on him when he was like, I don't even want you anymore. Like, do men really feel like that? Like, is it like, can you recover from that moment, or is it going to be long term damage?
It's damage, because I mean, I think it takes work. Cause you know what the thing is.
Y'all so funny. No,
I'm just trying to. Tawana.
No.
Hey, Tawana, with all due respect, I'm just trying to get. I'm not going to her. I'm not going to her. But what I'm saying is that, with all due respect, I think it's important for women to understand the man's perspective when it comes to the situation. So I hear how you think it, and I hear you. You know how you trying to.
Your question is a leading question, JR. It's not.
But you have to understand how the men feel. You have to understand. Women need to understand how the men feel. Go ahead, B Nix.
Okay, whatever.
Go ahead, B Nix.
Sit down. I forgot what I was about to say.
Because it wasn't worth nothing.
But the thing is,
y'all don't got no point.
Hey, it's a confidence thing, man. The thing is, like Anton alluded to this earlier, I need to know that you into me the same way I'm into you. And if you keep turning over on some, and not even on the I'm tired, like, just like, because that's the thing, like, I respect I'm tired. But the thing is, some nights it may not be I'm tired. It's like, I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood and I'm tired. Those are two different things. If you're not in the mood, it's because you're tired. But if you're not in the mood, that goes back to something deeper. It's like, you're not in the mood because of what? What has transpired that you're not in the mood? And then guess what? That affects me, because then and now, like, man, if you're not feeling me, and that's why I think it gets to the point where men step out, because it's like, hey, it's not mutually agreed upon. This is not even fun no more. And the thing we mentioned earlier, this is like a fucking chore. And the thing is, anytime something a chore, just like a kid, I don't feel like doing it. I'm doing it out of obligation. Nobody don't want no obligated booty. Like, period. No token booty, no obligated booty.
Let me tell you something. My homegirl, like, you know.
Hey, Tawana, hey, no, you know what? Hey, I hope you got your rebuttal ready while you over there popping your lips and stuff.
Hold on, my homegirl.
I'm tired of y'all. I can't wait.
Hold on, wait. So actually, my homegirl, it's really my cousin, but she wound up marrying like one of my best friends from like my childhood. But anyway, so I'm chilling and we kicking in, and I'm over at their house, whatever. And he worked afternoon, so it was like he usually get off at like 12 o'clock at night, and he's, usually gets to the crib like 12:30, 12:45. So we over there, we partying, so it's just me and her and all, a couple other people left. And so it was like, 11:30, she jumps up, get in the shower, she's doing her hair, like she's doing all this stuff. I'm like, yo, because I didn't know what the piss is going on. I'm like, yo, you about to go to the club or something? What's going on? Like, she was getting super fresh. And so she lived with her sister, and her sister was like, oh no, she do this every night. And I'm like, what are you doing, fam? And she like, oh, Lamar, which is my homeboy, she like, oh, he about to get off work. He about to get home. And when he get home, he need to see, like, I gotta be at my top. Like, she hit the gym earlier today. Like, she makes him a priority every single day. Now, we the exact same age, which is 38 years old, right? They've been married since 18. So she's been married for 20 years. She still go through the effort every single day because she like, you know what? He's the priority. Like, she places him as a priority. She don't try to equalize. She not trying to figure out, well, he feel like this, or do he get, do he prepare? Like, her priority is him. Every single day that he get off work, she to the T, bro. She looked like she just getting ready to go to work, the whole 9 yards. And I looked at that and I admired it because I admire and respect people that place the other one as the priority. I think the issue in most relationships is people spend so much time trying to equalize or trying to justify. And I think that if I place you as the priority and you placing me as the priority, we automatically are trying to solve for or trying to make sure that the other one is in the best space possible. And I thought that she was like the perfect example for that scenario, and that she never made an excuse. She never said I was tired. She never went through what she was doing that day. Unless she was sick, that was the priority every single night at 11:45, 11:30 every single night. It was crazy. I had never seen no woman old school like that, bro.
Hey, can I interrupt before Tawana rebuttal? I hope you've been practicing in your head what you're going to say. But, I agree with Anton, but I feel like as going back to relationships, I think as I've gotten, I would say mature. I won't even say age, because age doesn't mean you're mature, right?
You
so
age.
The thing is,
you age. You old.
No, I'm gonna just say mature, right? Because it's older people that are mentally immature. But I'll say to the point that Anton mentioned is like investment, right? I think that I got to a point where like eliminating distractions, right? It has to be mutual agreement. I admit, and I know this sounds, I'm gonna do this like it's a cliche to build up to. If I was cheating, right, on Toya in regard to my work, right? That's who I was cheating on her with. And I'm a workhorse. I really would put work before everything. So guess what? I bring laptop to the bed. I'm gonna come to bed because I'm downstairs working on work. I literally still would work like through the night. Like, you know how like we would stay up back in the day, like I'm gonna just stay up all night on work on this paper. I would do that for work. I would put work before everything. Like, I'm the type of person I never take days off work, right? But the thing is, guess who then gets the priority? So this is the opposite of what Anton mentioned, that now I made work my primary check. You know what I'm saying? So then it got to the point where I think that when I did a different job, in hindsight, and we wasn't having any issues, but I noticed that like my all and my effort, you're able to match effort. So that's the part where I think, going back to the clip that JR mentioned earlier, I had an issue with her response, and maybe I got to watch the whole thing, Tawana, but it's about effort. We have to want people to want each other, but I feel there's a double standard. The way that we go about wanting it, like, I appreciate what Anton mentioned with the example he gave, because I think in some cases, the amount of effort that men put forth for wanting it from women, I don't know if women kind of validate men's feelings of wanting it from them either. So the thing is, it's like, I feel like we talked about this earlier, this double standard. Men's job is just meant to perform. I feel like we're an automatic start car. Hey, I press the button, I'm ready. My car should be able to run. But the thing is, it's one of those like, hey, we're human beings, and I don't know if all women really kind of factor in that, like, we also want to be wanted. No man is going to say, hey, Tawana, you know, I just want you to want me, that's some tender shit. No man is going to articulate it, at least not that way. We may say it in our own way, like, hey, you know, last night I was just trying to, you know, but you wasn't feeling it. It's like, that's the part where I think that as a woman, and not as a woman, as a partner, right? If you know your guy complimented, you might need to do something different. So like Anton mentioned about dressing up and stuff like that, it's like, shit, is she going through, like, almost like, not the, and I hope I'm not derailing this, JR, but it's like, what do you wear to bed at night, right? It's different type of people that wear different type of things to bed. Do you wear like a do-rag, some jogging pants, and an oversized tee? Or are you wearing lingerie? Or you wearing booty shorts? Or you wearing nothing? You wearing a gown? Do you got a hairnet on? You got curlers and rollers in your hair? All those different things is like, those are cues. So again, those are things that tells me the cue based on you dress like, oh, this ain't one of those nights. I'll just watch Sports Center then. But then it's one of those nights like, oh shit, hey, I'm gonna go take a shower too. It's like, those are things that I think those cues that people need to be able to do in order to keep the relation. Because last thing, JR, that you could picture to Tawana, she could finally come up with her rebuttal. But the thing is, it's one of those like, hey, and this goes against what Anton mentioned months back. I think it's easy to get into a relationship. It is very hard to maintain one. You know why it's hard? Because you got to put in effort. It's always fun in the beginning. Everybody goes through the honeymoon stage. That's when it's fun. Just off GP, I'm excited just because it's new. But the thing is, it's not new anymore. And you have them days are like, oh, that's the same outfit. What are you going to do to ensure that you all keep that level of enticement in the relationship to not make somebody want to step out?
Tawana, I know this conversation is kind of getting to you a little bit.
Tawana still, like, let me hear what you hey, I'm going to put myself on.
What's your question, JR? What is your question? Because B-Nick threw me off.
No, I don't have no question. I just want you to kind of close this on out.
No. Closing out? Yeah, go ahead, Tawana. Hey, take.
Let me talk. Let me close this out because I want to talk about Anton's point of, oh, you know, the man is always got to be considerate and this, that, and the third. And he's pushing his agenda. He want to have.
Ain't no agenda. Hey, Anton spitting facts.
I didn't talk when he was talking. I sat there and rolled my eyes and kept it quiet. You keep it quiet. Listen, all he did was he did not listen to the reasons that she had regarding why she wasn't interested and what happened with that situation. He was only interested in his natural instinct to have sex and what he wanted to do, and that was it. And it's not all about that when you're in a relationship. Relationships are totally different, and you know that y'all all in relationships. It's all about communication. You have to communicate with your partner. And you have to tell them everything that you want and need out of the relationship. And that person needs to be willing to adjust. And also you have to hear the other person's side and perspective and why these things are not happening. Because it's always both sides to the table, to the story. And I think that we miss that in these conversations. I feel like we're always one-sided and we're centered on what men feel and how they feel and what they think. But you also need to consider the other person and who you want. Yes, y'all do. Y'all stay considered. Y'all
nobody is saying
on men's issues and men's perspectives, and y'all never think about. Well, you know, women, we like to be emotionally connected. We like to have, you know, we like certain things. Some women's love languages are different. You don't put one woman in a box just based on one perspective, because everybody don't struggle with sex in their relationship. That's not an issue with everyone. Intimacy could be an issue, but sometimes it's an issue on both ends. Men don't perform either, and women have high sex drives and they don't get satisfied in the bedroom. And maybe they don't want to have sex because maybe in 10 years, you know, you ain't as great in bed as you used to be. No, it's not. But you know what? All these things are things that we don't consider. And we like to judge based on one perspective. And I'm not for that. I'm not letting somebody make a perception about a relationship when we all know relationships are more complex than just, oh yeah, this is happening, so this is the result. Because you can be not denying your man, giving him everything, holding on to chandeliers, doing everything he wants you to do, and he's still gonna step out. because he has some other reason why he want to have sex with other people. It has nothing to do with how frequent y'all have sex. So we all know that relationships are more about connection and relationship than it is about sex. Sex is a small part of every relationship. You all
it's a huge part.
Like, no, it's not. It's 10%. People do not have sex. If you think about the statistics, we do way more other things than we do with having sex.
How long it's gonna be in that relationship?
No, you work.
You'll be on red table talking about, hey, I should have listened.
I ain't gonna be on red table talk because ain't nobody ain't no man gonna ever say that I don't know how to take care of women. So it ain't gonna be on red table. So we're gonna be all right.
All right, so this is what you should have
No. I don't need to say nothing. He said I'm closing it out. You saw the comment.
I was
coming to all of us.
Go ahead, Anton.
Really?
So,
and next one, finish up with you.
This is what you should have said.
No, I shouldn't have said nothing but what I said.
I was quiet when you was talking.
No, you wasn't.
Still B Nix.
Y'all, you and B Nix continuously interrupt me.
Let me know when you're
done. Don't get mad because I interrupt y'all. I don't care about being no lady. I don't care about y'all stereotypical.
Like B Nix said the other night, this seems like a very problematic scenario in which
somewhat toxic.
First of all, I like how y'all try to relate stuff to people's personal life. I'm passionate about everything. You should call my people and they'll tell you how passionate I am about really simple shit that has absolutely nothing to do with me. That's just my life in general. It has nothing to do with who I'm with. Y'all love to personalize stuff. And
all right, so we're gonna have Anton say his closing and then
I'm gonna help her out.
It's 9:30. We should have been off this call. Let's go.
Let Anton speak.
He already spoke for 4 hours. We on
final word.
This is what she's. Hey, ladies, I'm gonna help y'all out, ladies. Tawana is supposed to be y'all voice on this platform.
She hung.
It don't matter. Yeah. So go on, baby.
Yeah, well, I think she didn't like I muted her, so.
So I'm gonna tell y'all what she should have said to y'all. Yo, no more excuses. Let's stop making up excuses as to why we can't be the best version of ourselves. You need to work hard. You need to put more effort into your relationships. You need to stop looking at things based off of what you feel all the time and start taking into consideration what your man needs. It's not just about you, it's about both of y'all, especially if he's in a position where he's putting you first and he's championing you and he's trying to do everything that he can in order to prepare for you and trying to make sure that you're happy and going out of his way and making sure that you're satisfied. I know that there are circumstances and situations in which, everybody is in a situation where they may go through things. Your body may change or whatever. But how long are we going to allow that to prevent us from being the best version of ourselves? You really need to put more effort in, work harder, put the time in, ask him what he needs, instead of just making excuses as to why you can't do whatever it is that he needs to be done. Because we all got things that we need. Make him a priority. That's what she should have told you. It'll help your relationship 10 times over.
All right, B-Nix, close us out.
Hey, I think we started off talking about just monogamy, right?
Yep.
And, I think just folks need to decide, like, hey, is this, like Anton mentioned, is this something that we actually, are you prepared for monogamous relationship? Like, if you're in a committed relationship, it's about being 100, not just at the beginning, but throughout. And as the relationship evolves, how can you, my father-in-law would always say, like, how do you reinvent yourself? You almost got to reinvent yourself every day. And not really in life, you should, but specific to this relationship, it's like you got to be able to reinvent yourself every day to your partner. The same way, the same effort that you put in to keep this person, you got to put it in the work to be able to remain, to have that person. So for me, I like being in a monogamous relationship, but because, like, we all have our aspects of being selfish. I don't want to share her with nobody else. So the thing is, it's one of those, like, she knows that the expectation is set, but I got to put forth the effort. And part of the effort, really, communication. if we're not able to communicate and hash it out when there are some stumbles in the road or whatever like that, or I'm not doing my part, or I should feel comfortable that I can call her on the carpet when I don't feel she's doing her part. If you feel that you can't have that 100 conversation with your partner, y'all might not be together. Whether y'all decide on your own or technically the relationship is already over because somebody's already stepping out in order to fulfill their needs. I'm gonna always bring it up. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Belongingness. If I feel as if I don't belong in this monogamous relationship, you're gonna step out. It's either gonna be you or someone's gonna step out on you. So folks just need to be 100 about it. And if you're not, then that's gonna be the outcome. A broken relationship.
Yo, this whole thing is so much more cordial and respectful and quiet right now. Like, maybe we need to change the name when Tawana want to check out to the Bearded King or something. I don't know.
Man, I ain't touching that, man. Tawana, hey, I know you still watching somewhere by way of
her fault for checking out. Listen, I got all the smoke. When you're not able to take the heat, you can't just run about the kitchen. It's the same thing in a relationship. We need to be able to communicate and work through this. You're not going to run away when it get hot. And if you do, that means that I got the floor. And because I got the floor, I got this fire for you. We not having it. It's 2020.
I think she got
2021, and we got smoke for all these women that continue to put men down and continue to create this narrative like we not what we supposed to do. We meeting expectations, we exceeding expectations. Black men don't cheat, and we are great. We are phenomenal, and we need y'all to do y'all part too. Meet that expectation. If she wanted to have a rebuttal, she should have stayed on the show.
I think she might have took exception because I had muted her so we can try to move on.
No,
so
man. Tawana about to light my ass up tomorrow morning by text. Already feel it coming. I feel like you got us in trouble, man. Like already, and I'm not even with Tawana. I feel like I'm in trouble.
See, that's the problem, B-Nix.
That's Tawana, we love you.
Hey, man, I'm trying to reduce risk, man.
Hey, Tawana, we love you. We love you.
Yeah, I love you.
I'll send you a text.
Enough to give you this beat down too.
Hey, I'm just here so I won't get fined.
No, we do love you. I'm just messing around.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. All right, we appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight for Lapeef Let's Talk. If you guys can take a chance to go to YouTube, like, subscribe, and share on our YouTube channel. Also set the notifications so that when we do drop something, you don't miss it. Again, we appreciate you guys, and we out.
All right, bet.